1 minute to the deadline. Seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Deadline.
Hello and welcome. I am Kevin O'Kelly from DBN, and we are here to cover Boston Massacre 2024. You don't want to hear me talk about diplomacy all day, so I am going to bring in two gentlemen who have virtual titles that are currently active and a World DipCon and a North American DipCon last year. So those kind of shine has kind of faded on those trophies. But Michalis Kamaridis, the current VDL champion, as we see the winning shirt there. Welcome, Michalis.
Hi, Kevin. Always a pleasure to be here.
Yes, definitely great to have you here. And we have a very early riser and the current VDC champion, Jamal Blackerly. Jamal, welcome.
Welcome. It's good to be here in Boston.
Practicing his accent all weekend long in order to get the chowder tasting right. So according to Ace Ventura, the New England kind is the white kind. So anyone who hasn't seen Ace Ventura, go back and watch that classic American comedy. We're not here to talk about comedy. We're not even here to talk about Olympic Games that are currently in the final stages. We are here for a competition of other sorts. The Boston Massacre is a 21-year-old tournament run back in the day when I first started playing by Melissa Call, who happens to be Australian. So we brought in an Australian player to give us some background. Tell us about Melissa and some of the things she's done down under.
Melissa is an absolute legend of the Australian hobby. So she's run PoppyCon for quite a number of years, and as a kind of house con a la Husky Con, for those of you who would have known that. So PoppyCon is named actually after her cat Poppy, and it was the single flagship Australian tournament for quite a number of years, and almost the only tournament going when I started playing face to face. So yeah, very very fond memories of Melissa's tournaments, and keen to see her back in the scene if and when she chooses to grace us with her presence again.
Well, with the Australian hobby picking up, my guess is the call, no pun intended, will be trying to get her out to a major event that happens down there, hopefully in the near future. So, speaking of the historical tournaments, the last time it hosted DipCon was in 2015, won by Chris Martin, and that was his fourth DipCon victory. I was present, I think, with the other ones, maybe the third. I won't contribute to his fourth, though, as I think he soloed a few boards I was on to get to some of those other victories. So I'll take partial credit, but not on that one. Averaging 3 to 4 boards per round. So it was always a very strong local hobby. Randy Lawrence Hurt, who I know we will see this weekend, was up there. And now we have Alex Maslow running up there. This is the second year in a row that he's gotten some strong attendance, and we will see a good number of rounds today. We got a lot of diplomacy coming up over the next 2 weekends, today and next weekend. VDL, as mentioned, the current reigning champion here, and apparently, according to the interwebs, the best VDL player of all time, was the host of the Summer Classic last weekend. It was the preliminary rounds. McCullis, tell us what we are going to see next Sunday when we get the top board.
Well, next Sunday, we've got a delightfully international top board. One of the people here is playing on it. I'll guess, leave the viewers to guess which one of Kevin or Jamal that is. Alongside him, we will see Bradley Grace, Johnny Dillon, Ed Sullivan, Jelta Kuiper, Micah Blom, and Jason Massbaum, all battling it out for the champion of the Summer Classic this year.
I mean, seriously, who let Massbaum on there? I blame Ben Kelman, who finished in 8th place and is the first alternate in case Jamal doesn't wake up for, I believe, the 1 a.m. local time start time. Is that right?
That's correct. And I do want to say it wasn't our fault. Jason Masterbaum tricked us by sending his alter ego Mason Jasterbaum to the tournament instead. And it was, we couldn't tell. We didn't know what to do.
Mason is making his name known on this tournament. So I guess Peter McNamara can win Diplomat of the Year 2 times. Speaking of which, Peter McNamara is a former champion of Massacre, so he's allowed to. Jason doesn't have that. He's a target, and so we need the alter ego to come on in. We will not see Jason this week. We will see. So that broadcast is on Sunday. I don't know if we have an official start time yet, but we're going to bring out all the bells and whistles for top board coverage. Before we get to Sunday's coverage, we will have a league night on Saturday night at the regular 8 or 8:30 Eastern start time. For those who haven't played the Virtual Diplomacy League, it is 3 rounds of league action. Each game can be 6.5 hours long. You can get about 9, 10, 11 years in. That is hosted on, I clicked the wrong button. That is hosted on the VWDC Discord server, which is above Jamal's head right now. Click the QR code to get you in there. It's a league that starts in March, goes all the way through December, with the top 7 players playing in a championship game in January, usually around the middle to end of the month. So start times are 3 a.m. New York time, 10 a.m. New York time, and 5 p.m. New York time, I think it is. Right around there, give or take an hour. I've not played in that in quite some time, so I haven't even been on league night in a while. So, but I think that's the times. Happy time zones for everyone. Australians have been in there. I mean, Peter, I think, was in the top board. What time? Jamal, you've done some VDL?
I've played a couple of games. I've never played a VDL top board though.
Yep. Okay.
So if I remember rightly, you're pretty close to making it for this season, though, aren't you?
I'm like 6th or something. I still need a few scores in there. Yeah, I'm no threat. It's fine. Don't worry about me.
One other good thing about playing in VDL is that the DBNI, the DBN Invitational that we host every February, you can play in face-to-face games, but in order to qualify for the DBNI, you are required to play 1 virtual game per year, just to make sure you know how to use Discord, the voice chats, the Backstabber interface. So it is a great chance to get your qualifying game in if you haven't played in the VDC or the Summer Classic. I think those 2 are the 2 biggest virtual face-to-face tournaments now. I know there's some other servers that do some items like that, but if you're not in a tournament mode and you just want to get a casual, relaxed game of virtual, stop by the VDL once a month, usually about the middle of the month, and the calendar dates are on the website, diplobn.com. I need to get up the software. It's not clicking. There we go. Speaking of the DBNI, we have newly released standings. Every tournament I believe we've shown to date has had last year's standings. So we have a light field for the DBNI, currently ranked. Tommy Anderson at 120, so he is a little of the ways back. Ian Rudnick, I believe the top 35 have made it every year because of alternates being needed to pulled in. So Ian comes into this tournament right on the brink. What's it like going into a tournament where you don't have any big names on there? I'm trying to think if virtual tournaments, you usually get a couple people in the DBNI. Jamal, for a local maybe tournament in Australia where you're trying to recruit new people, I know the hobby's coming back. Is there some intimidation of not wanting to, attack the new people early because you want to bring them into the hobby? Or is this a chance for someone like Tommy or Ian to go in and sweep the board and maybe get a tournament win?
Look, I think it depends on who you are as a player and what your goals are. And I think one of the things that smaller tournaments can often do really well is build a kind of community vibe and this idea that, that we are here for fun, right? Because at the end of the day, it is a game. So, I've played in a lot of smaller tournaments over in Australia and whatever else. And certainly over here, the idea is that, being community minded, if you see a new player who hasn't played before, come in, bring them under your wing, work with them a little bit, and look, diplomacy games get to a pointy end for sure. But certainly in my experience, the best players are the ones that actually work with the newer players and actually can help them achieve their goals as well as achieving your own goals, rather than just see them as free dots and just go and eat them up. So, hopefully that's what we see, because I think that to me is a sign of really high level play, being able to work with new players and give them a good time as well as getting the goals you want yourself.
I know there are some face-to-face members. Dave Miletsky is always someone who showed to me is they can work with newer players, unknown players. McCall, being starting an online play, you certainly had no idea who you were going to play against some of the times because it was a mysterious face behind a name. What's your strategy going in when you know nobody? Are you relying more on winning the tactical battle? Are you trying to figure out, I'm going to pick one person and try and win the diplomatic battle? What's pre-game or pre-tournament preparation like when you may not know anyone?
So I think my best example was actually when I went to Dixie last year, because Dixie has this huge player base of locals who don't tend to play online or in many other tournaments. So there were a lot of people there that I didn't know at all, even by name. And for me, it was just a case of have a conversation and see who seems to think about the game in the same way that I do. See how quickly you can gel with someone. I remember in one of the games that worked out pretty well for me, I had a good conversation with Hudson Defoe, who I'd never met before, no idea who he was. But spring of 01, we were just having a great conversation in England and France. We got on the same page and we immediately killed some guy called Karthik in Germany, and it was great. And I highly recommend that strategy to anyone. So yeah, that was it. We just needed to find someone who felt the same way about the game that I did, and we were pretty in sync pretty quickly.
So you're not saying England and France always has to target Germany. It's just that everyone should target Karthik.
Exactly, yeah.
No.
I won the tournament, so it's a winning strategy.
Spoken from the champ. Speaking of Karthik, the scoring system is Karnik. We will get into that measure as we get along into the tournament. And there is no drop round. So we are going to go through all the boards today, and everyone is going to be fighting for every center along the way. We will get to that. Let us get to the first game. We have round one, board one. There are board names, and I'm going to get to those, but apparently they were extremely long, and we had technology interface issues. So we will get to those. I don't know if you wrote a chapter for each one or not, but I do have those here online. Round one, board one. We'll call this one. We'll call them after a sports team. So we'll call this the Red Sox game here. Austria, Hunter Ketcher, just from a little south in New Haven, Connecticut. England is John Bin. I don't know where John is from, but my guess is a local. France, Will Yarnton from somewhere in the Commonwealth. Germany is DBN's own Adam Silverman. I think Adam, the last time he traveled to a tournament in the Eastern time zone, walked away as a DipCon champion. So we'll see how a return to the Eastern time zone treats him here. Italy, we have David Harshbarger from Lakeview, Ohio. Russia is Andy McLaughlin from somewhere in Massachusetts. And Turkey, we have Vij somewhere in Massachusetts. So Jamal, as we were getting to starting this off, Adam, a major tournament winner coming onto a board with Hunter Catcher, who was in a DBNI championship and played a really strong round in the opening tournament. So two major players in two different sides of the board. Are those two the favorites going in?
Look, they're definitely two to watch. But given the amount of local Massachusetts players here, I mean, there'll be local politics and local play going on in this board as well. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see who out of the locals kind of emerges as the front runner there. And we could be in for an Adam versus Hunter, or we could be in for a stacks on Adam and Hunter.
We see David Hood commenting in DBN's David Hood. So if you haven't watched Deadline, if this is your first time here to the program, David runs a monthly news show about all that's going on in the world of diplomacy. So click the subscribe button so that way you get the notifications for when David comes on. And as we see folks in the chat here today, hello, Stephen, the whipping champion, and of course, my favorite other Kelly from Chicago. He dropped the O at some point, I think. So he is a lesser player and lesser name without the O apostrophe, but he's always a pleasure to have in the chat. So feel free to comment on the games, give some insights that we miss while we're going through it. We will go with kind of how we did it last weekend. We'll start with a yearly update, but anyone who's got some good ideas about what is happening on the board, feel free to show it. And Michaelis, let's start us off.
All right, so spring of 01, we see pretty standard openings from England and Germany. France supports themselves to Burgundy. Other than that, the West is pretty much as you'd expect. The East, we see a bit more interesting things going on. Italy opening to Piedmont, not something you actually see very often nowadays. A bit of a throwback, that. And a DMZ in Galicia, but with Austria just holding Vienna. I don't remember the last time I saw that, but that is definitely unusual. Not punished, though, with nobody going to Trieste or Galicia. So Hunter worked something out, and it seems to be working quite well for him at the moment. Turkey with the more old-fashioned opening as well, with both armies going up. Pretty good start for Austria, I'd say.
I'm always on watch when I see Turkey move to con. So we all have different opinions about this, but for me, that's particularly when you're getting bounced in the Black Sea, that's a very, very risky move to play. And it looks very natural, but when you're not guaranteed to get that army in Bulgaria out, you can get that army stuck and it really can hurt your position. So I'm always interested to see how that goes. So for me, that's one to watch is this deliberate by Vig, or is this going to come back to hurt them?
So this is, and we're going to have Tanya Gill joining us in a little bit too, and she is the master player in Austria. Is this where you feel great in Spring 01, where your diplomacy worked everywhere, or is this where you're starting to think, Jamal, this worked all too well? Are people going to start, coming after me?
No, look, I think you can feel pretty good in this situation, right? Particularly with Italy's moves, David going to Piedmont and Naples. That's a very clear sign of AI cooperation here, right? There's not even a play on Apulia. It's all the way in Naples. So yeah, I think as Austria, I'm feeling pretty comfortable in this situation.
I remember a couple of years ago, there was a big statistical investigation into everyone's openings and who did the best from each opening. And Austria actually had some of its best results when it didn't go to Galicia or to Trieste. Usually that was because Vienna went to Budapest and maybe gave it some play on Romania and some more influence there. But maybe Vienna hold is going to work out really nicely for Austria as well.
We'll have to dig in to those statistics. What last question, Mikhail, before we move on is, Adam, being the big name on the board, has Paris forced into Burgundy here? Are you covering Munich? Obviously, you don't know the negotiations from spring 1901 here, but generally, what's the risks and the benefits of covering Munich, or just saying, I don't think he's going to go?
I would feel a lot less worried about Munich, given that Italy's in Piedmont. Because France is therefore, to take Munich, is punting at Munich and possibly punting on taking Spain and losing Marseille in the process, which, if those punts go wrong for France, could turn into almost game over in 1901. So I'd be very surprised if France tried to take Munich here. wouldn't be too surprised to see exactly this, where Burgundy just comes down to make sure Marseille is protected while you get the two centres in the south.
Yeah, and this is the situation where England has got to be smiling, like not even needing support for a convoy into Belgium, where English armies usually go to die, but with Ruhr back to Munich, not too much pressure on that army. Tell us strategy wise what you see from Adam here.
Well, it seems Adam was worried about Munich. I'm a little surprised that he went out of Ruhr. Good news for France, as that means that there's not going to be two German armies lined up against Burgundy in spring, and with France correctly protecting Marseille, I think that they'll be relatively happy with how this game turned out, because you actually don't want Burgundy to have got into Marseille there and have all your units pulled right down to the south. So having moved to Burgundy, you'll be delighted that it got bounced out and you stayed in Burgundy. In the east, still that army in Vienna finds nothing to do. Apparently, Austria doesn't actually need that many units. We've all been playing Austria wrong. Apparently, two units is all Austria needs to get things done in this game. Looks to be very AIR-ish, with the Italian pretty pro-Austrian, and now with Russia putting the fleet into Romania and a seeming war breaking out between Turkey and Russia.
Is it a slower AIR, Jamal, with the fleet not moving into Aegean? Is older school air?
I mean, I don't think it's going to be that slow, partially because, Italy's still in Ionian. You can force Aegean next turn because, as we've seen with the move from Smyrna to Con, now that army's gotten backed up. So, Vig is almost going to be forced to build Fleet Smyrna here, which is 1 against 2, and it's got no play to bring its other fleet around. And it's also facing a Russian that's going to have 2 fleets on the Black Sea if the builds go as you might predict here. So this is it's a tricky situation for Vig, but Turkey is famous for being able to hold out, and if they can survive a little bit and break the air, then there is play to come back in the later stages of this game here.
And we do see that fleet in Sevastopol, army in Moscow. Interesting. The fleet does not go to Smyrna; it goes to Ankara.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can safely say that there's not going to be much RT cooperation in this game, but I think Hunter and David will be delighted to have seen that go down, and with RT locked in stasis.
I want to point out here, actually, I think it was a slight error from Hunter here. So Hunter has gotten everyone on side. No one's gone to Galicia. Italy's doing the most pro-Austrian moves you can imagine, and he's gone and built 2. And now I know everyone's like, oh, you always have to build. And I know it's me. And it's like, oh, Jamal loves a wave. But this is the perfect situation to wave, because what is that army in Trieste doing other than scaring Italy, right? It's backed up. If you're attacking Turkey, you're not going to go and, it's not going to roll through and get anything for you. And the army in Trieste and the army in Vienna, unless you do just want to sit there and hold them and kind of have this little knife at the back of Italy and Russia for when you want it, all you're going to do is spook them. So there's a really good case here for Hunter to have waved a build and just let this air cruise just a little bit and just have one in pocket. I don't know. I get it, and I get that it's common, but I don't love it.
So I don't believe you played that much virtual in 2021 when air was every single other game, Jamal. But what I wouldn't be too shocked about is if it's following that meta, is that those 2 armies go to Tyrolia, Bohemia, and Warsaw goes to Silesia here. And that was very, very common a couple of years ago in virtual. Didn't always make for the most interesting of games, but yeah, Fleet Berlin, maybe Adam Silverman is already worried about exactly that coming his way.
Yeah.
England, on the other hand, doesn't seem too worried about that, because Fleet London is not the Western triple build.
Fleet London is the John Jameson build, and there'll be Johns happy all around the world.
It's Norway to Barents, north to Norway, and London to north. It's friendly, totally friendly. We'll see how friendly it is. It is not friendly, and Portugal cannot go to North Atlantic directly, although that would be fantastic if it could, at least for France in this game. Italy splitting direction, so air is there, but you didn't get the army moves, Jamal. So you can't relive 2021 when you weren't here. Make some sense of that. east.
We cannot, and so, and again, I don't know Vig. I think I hope Vig is I hope Vig had a really good time in this game, and I hope they seem like they're generally quite a clever player. They're trying some clever moves here, but I do want to point out that this is exactly the reason why you don't go to con. So this is nothing against you, Vig, but this is a great example of why you should not open to con, because now they're trying to convoy con over to Armenia. And I'm not sure if they're using Ankara for it, if they're using the Black Sea and forgot to support the Black Sea to let that happen. But like having to convoy con to Armenia here is just a janky position to have to try and do, right? And if that army had gone to Syria or held in Smyrna or done something, anything else, you could just walk it over there and you would be in a much more comfortable position. And this is, you've got yourself backed up. And you then have to try and find very interesting and clever ways to get out of it. And when you're facing 4 fleets as a Turk in 1902, that is not what you want to be spending your time doing. So I think Turkey's in a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah, I think the only thing worse for Turkey than having to build Fleet Ankara in the first place is building Fleet Ankara and then losing Black Sea anyway. Yeah. It doesn't get much worse than that from this position, because Smyrna is already indefensible. So already the homeland is losing one. Interestingly, Austria put Trieste to Albania instead of Serbia, so actually there's a bit less pressure on Bulgaria than there might otherwise be. There are ways Turkey might be able to defend that, depending who's supposed to get Bulgaria, but yeah, the east is looking pretty bad for Turkey pretty quickly, and the west isn't looking much better for France. There looks like another unfortunate misorder with Portugal not managing to get into mid-Atlantic, and France has pulled their units down to counter this Italian threat, and the Germans and English have stormed in from behind. Yeah, this is looking pretty rough.
It looks like France may have been sold on the Western Triple, particularly by the Fleet Berlin build. And so that they've gone, well, yeah, let's do a bounce in Burgundy and I'll do the triple moves and I'll get my fleets out. And then England and Germany have gone, actually, instead, we want to have some French dots.
So a little context here is that in this game, Will and Vig are both unknown to Alex. So this could possibly be their first time playing in a larger diplomacy space. Maybe they played with friends and saw this and decided to show up. So we don't know their experience level. They could be brand new or just brand new to timed diplomacy. So we will see how the rest of these orders play out. So into the fall, EG makes some progress, but no center gains here. What else do we make of that?
I mean, they're prioritizing position, right? Which is the correct thing to do. So, they had no guaranteed centers anyway. I guess they could have gone for Brest, but Paris was likely to push back then. They took the guess that Paris was going to go cover Brest rather than hold, which it did. But at the end of the day, they've still got Picardy. They've been able to retreat into Gascony, which is a great position here. And yeah, for those following at home, the defense that I would have done here probably would have been Marseille to Burgundy, Spain to Gascony, and Lyon to Marseille, just to kind of lock that up a little bit more. Gascony is a really key spot for France, and so you need to make sure at the very least no one else is going there. But I think that they've gone for position and not center gain, which is fine, because Germany's also gaining Sweden here, and England's gaining St. Petersburg, because as we kind of missed a little bit in the chaos last turn, it's completely undefended. They can just wander straight in, and so Andy's making progress in the south, but has some issues in the north, which is often the tale with Russia. You progress on one side and issues on the other side, but it's recoverable.
Yeah, I mean, Andy is now basically just a southern power, and I don't think that's necessarily the end of the world. It's St. Petersburg's been taken with a fleet. You're probably going to pull Bothnia off the board. All right, whatever. Now I'm just a southern power, and I've got to focus in the south and try and make the best of the situation I've been dealt with there. It's pretty good for him that he's the one who gets Romania, and therefore he isn't going down too much, despite the loss of St. Petersburg and Sweden. But yeah, Austria helping both their allies take centers, taking nothing for themselves, and yet both their allies have pretty, I wouldn't necessarily say problems in the Italian case, but they're pretty stretched out. So I think Hunter would be perfectly happy to help both his allies grow at this stage and sit in the middle and wait to stab one or the other, because those armies aren't going to stay sitting in Vienna and Budapest forever.
Yeah, this is very good patient play from Hunter. I like it. You help your allies grow, and they obviously have other places they can send those units, which I'm sure they will. So, again, playing along at home, I would have disbanded this fleet as Andy. I think if you've got an attack coming up in the north, the fleet in Bothnia is not actually going to do you any good here. And, because you're picking up Bulgaria, you actually aren't pulling a unit in this situation. Oh, no, well, you're pulling one. But I think, you may as well get rid of it. May as well send the signal to England and Germany. Hey, we're done here. You've got St. Petersburg with the fleet. Let's all get on with our lives.
I imagine it'll be pulled off in the build phase.
And that is not what happened. We lose an army in Ukraine. So Bothnia is still there to somewhat irritate. Warsaw did pull back to Moscow potentially to retake St. Petersburg, since there's only... there's no defense on St. Petersburg, so 2v1 could be what Andy is thinking at this moment. Turkey pulls the fleet in Ankara, with no threat on that at the moment. Fleet Naples for David, Army Munich, and Fleet Liverpool. Those are EGs just piling away. And the interesting take of Ukraine. Do you trust your Austrian ally so much that is why you do it? And how will he be repaid?
Those Austrian armies have to go somewhere, and pulling Ukraine is an open invitation for those Austrian armies to come your way, I think.
Yeah, I think in this situation, you want to be pulling Bulgaria. So if you do really want to decide you want to, again, I would have pulled Bothnia, but if you want to decide you want to punish England and Germany, you can actually retake St. Petersburg here. So if that is a priority for you, then pulling something like Bulgaria, which would have, Austria is going to come backfill then anyway. You're slowing yourself down in the south, but not too much. Ukraine is a juicy tempter for Hunter here, so we'll see how much Hunter is tempted to stab in. I don't reckon he'll do it in spring, but there's an option in fall.
We'll see how they move the fleets up in the north to try to stay with her. Yeah, and so now, Andy takes the short gain for getting St. Petersburg back, but will not be able to maintain that in the fall. And Austria stays patient, Michalis. They don't have to go anywhere, I guess.
I think, as Jamal said, it's a move that you pull in fall, and in spring, Hunter's getting an excellent convoy into Constantinople. You don't need to do anything else yet. Yeah. But we're already at the point where Turkey is basically dead. Ankara can't necessarily fall this year. Depending on what Armenia does, it should be able to cut a support unless Russia comes in from the Black Sea. Maybe they'll give it to Russia, but maybe they'll just stab. The nice thing that Hunter has here is that there's nothing in Bulgaria that can retreat to Greece. So if Hunter stabs in full, the option to take Rum and Bull are both potentially on the table.
I want to also point out the big moves in the West here, which is France Will has decided that David is a friend. So they're putting David into Mid-Atlantic Ocean because, that's definitely an Italian sea space, not a French sea space. And they're kind of just going, all right, then, David, you've sat there in Piedmont and not actually hurt me in Marseille for all these years. You can come and help me out here. Tunis to North Africa. The army in North Africa is something we'd love to see. I think at the very least, this will slow down EG, but you can see the EG now reaping the benefits of that kind of positional play over the center grabbing play, because, they're taking Paris and it's blown up, and that army is never coming back. And they're able to land the convoy in Brest at the same time. So this French position is pretty much done, and they will potentially survive in Iberia at the behest of the Italian, I think, at this point.
And even then, Army North Africa is a fun move, but it's not a move France should like, because where is Italy setting up the convoy that's good for France?
I mean, Gascony's open.
Yeah, if you're France and you welcome your new Italian overlords, Gascony's a great place to be.
Is it though?
that is sadly not what was chosen, but is beleaguered. So Mid-Atlantic does hold there. Really not much else in the West, Jamal, other than the dismemberment of Burgundy.
Yeah, the East again is the real fascinating one. As you picked, Russia loses St. Petersburg because they can't hold it. But England and Germany are making slow progress here because they keep taking it with a fleet, which is just not what you want to be taking St. Petersburg with. if you actually want to progress. Italy has essentially not defended Ankara. Sev can tap Armenia, so it's kind of all done. But it looks like the air has decided to start to move west. And Hunter, again, the lovely patient play, just the all holds, just the Aegean to Ionian, because that's, because Italy really need to go and send an extra fleet out west here. So let me come and help you in Ionian, which is, it's really, really good play from Hunter. And, I think I said this last broadcast, but something to watch. If someone is able to hold all of their units, then it shows that they're really in control. And Hunter hasn't held everything, but he's held almost everything. And so that's the play of someone who's very in control of this board.
But Kyle's counterpoint, though, you're holding David Hood, who is in the chat here, would hate those moves.
I don't hate these moves from Hunter at all. What I do hate is I hate this if I'm Italy. Piedmont going to Tyrolia suggests that the air plan to attack Germany should be on now, but why is Austria not in Bohemia? Why is Austria in Ionian Sea when you're not building as Italy? What is this? This looks very, very scary, given Austria is about to build as well, which is almost certainly they're going Trieste unless he waves. You've got to walk into Naples. This Italian position is very, very overstretched, and Hunter has absolutely no threat of being rammed in from behind by Russia while this happens, because Russia has 2 fleets holding 3 provinces next to Hunter anyway. Russia cannot help Italy out if Austria stabs Italy. And given that Russia is busy squabbling with the EG and slowing them down in the north, maybe Hunter's gone, right, well, Russia's doing God's work for me, but I don't necessarily need Italy.
Puts down an army in Trieste, which is absolutely unneeded unless it's going to just hold 4 units in the middle. Let's hope there's some movement for my sake in watching this game. Army Moscow comes in, so now it's 3v3 up there with Baltic and Berlin coming in behind. So interesting to see. Vig, hope you enjoyed the game, and you can watch the rest of it to see how it goes. And another fleet Liverpool for John. So, anything interesting? Would you have done fleet Trieste or army Trieste? What's your take on Trieste, Jamal?
I mean, so it's very rare to get an opportunity where you can build fleet Trieste and Italy's happy here, but I almost think this was one of them, right? Where army Trieste is really threatening to Italy because, you can force Tyrolia and then force Venice and, take Naples, and suddenly the whole thing is tricky. Whereas fleet Trieste here, you can make an argument for it, right? You can say, well, France is a dead man walking, and we need to get fleet presence to stop all these English fleets, and you're stuck in Smyrna, and it's not a highly convincing argument, but it's one that if you've built trust over an alliance and you've been working together and not taking that stab and showing the alliance play, that's one of those things you might be able to get away with here. And then Austria with 2 fleets in this position becomes really, really powerful toward the end of the game.
Yep.
It may also be that it just wasn't discussed, and the problem with a fleet Trieste build is that if it wasn't discussed in advance and you put fleet Trieste down, almost every Italian is going to look at that and go, oh crap, Austria's coming my way. And yes, I think Jamal raised a good point that actually it's probably less threatening, but maybe if you're a newer player, maybe if you're not that experienced, or maybe if you just haven't had any discussion and you suddenly see fleet Trieste and it catches you off guard, that could actually be more scary for Italy, given the diplomatic work hadn't been laid out in advance for it. So that may be why it didn't happen.
All right, let's get moving here. Spring 1904, ooh, lots of black arrows all over the place. And finally, the armies do some moving. Michalis, tell us about it.
So Austria now does come up to the line. It turns out Italy didn't have too much to fear yet. Tyrolia goes back to Piedmont. I'm not entirely sure why it was necessary to come back that way in the first place, but fair enough. The fleets are still fighting with EG. Germany's coming east to attack Russia. Russia does get back into St. Petersburg because Germany decided to self-mount Sweden instead of use Bothnia to defend St. Petersburg. They should be able to retake it. Baltic can just tap Livonia in full. Romania is piffed, but that may well be by agreement, given that Pom
That looks
didn't move.
definitely agreed. Russia wants another
Yeah.
army here. Yeah.
But whether it's by agreement in spring and then Austria just forgets to back out in fall may be a different question. But once again, this is an agreement that's great for Hunter with all the risk on his partner and no risk for Hunter. He can do whatever he wants this turn. There's a world where I don't know. Are these untimed games, Kevin?
It's a great question. I will look that up.
Because if these are timed games, then there's a world where I'm looking right now at Rum, Bull, Ankh, Ven, and Naples. Just saying, cool, I've got the top, game over, let's go to the bar.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's an argument for Hunter here to say, hey, I have not grown through you like I could have here. I kind of want the board top. I'm going to send the armies west to go and deal with the German line. You know what? Like, just give me a dot here. You really don't need this extra fleet. And you know, if Andy is kind of got the board awareness to go, you know what? I'm in a position where I can't stop this anyway. Maybe it's just given.
And one of the factors that I do know about this scoring system, even though it's named after someone in particular, is that the motivation to have a top that extends by a bigger gap than normal is built into their scoring system. So you get more points for how far ahead you are. So a small top by one center isn't worth as much as Hunter taking all of the dots potentially at his disposal all in one brutal turn.
Yeah. And you can see here Hunter's taken Bulgaria, assumedly by agreement, because he's also walking out of Romania to go to the line in Galicia. Looks like Adam thought they had Russia on side, so they've cut a deal here to hold them in St. Petersburg and get them on side to go and deal with Hunter and put them into Galicia and all that. And I think Adam is convinced that this deal is happening because Adam has not gone for Warsaw, supported Ukraine into Galicia, not gone for Prussia, and for his troubles has gotten Russia into Prussia, Russia into Warsaw, Austria into Galicia, and not the alliance structure he thought he was getting. So it looks like Adams had been slightly hoodwinked here by Russia. So good play by Andy to get the deception on and get the actually get the position on the line that's much better for the Eastern Alliance here than it could have been.
Yeah, what I would say for Adam is that this isn't a stab on England. Like, England's pulled out of Barents, so they didn't expect to get St. Petersburg. They probably tapped it to make sure nothing really weird went on, like Russia tried to open it for a build. But overall, this is a pretty solid turn from EG, and that they were just hoping to flip Russia diplomatically, because if Russia doesn't flip diplomatically, then EG are kind of cooked at this point. Like, they're not getting anywhere further in France. They're not getting through the mid-Atlantic. They're not getting anywhere further through Russia, because all those units are fleets anyway. And now they have Austria and Russia coming in to pressure Munich and Berlin. So
we see the line starting to be formed. This was Saturday morning. So even if there isn't a time limit, there is a Saturday night round. So if you're drawing close to an end, potentially, you just say, hey, let's go have lunch or let's go enjoy the afternoon. I think the gold medal basketball game was on. So maybe and
Hunter's not stabbing here, because if Hunter's stabbing, he's building Army Trieste and then taking Venice and Rome and everything all in one fell swoop. So even though Tyrrhenian Sea holding was not the best alliance play, I think this will draw soon, or Hunter will take the agreed pop of Romania and just go, give me the board top. We're done here.
Maybe. Or like, the option's still there for the sneaky stab for a bunch of centers in full, and it's likely to still be there. Romania again by agreement, but again, maybe you get something else in full. It looks like they've pushed up to the line around Munich, but Germany. Adam Silverman knows how to defend a stalemate line, and Adam Silverman is defending a stalemate line.
No.
It's a highly ineffectual sneaky stab, though, because when you have people agreeing to give you that eighth center, I mean, again, you've now dropped it to maybe a 1-dot stab where it could have been a 3-dot stab. Like, if you were going to stab, you stab last turn. You don't stab here.
I mean, you definitely could have stabbed for more, like Sev and Rom, depending on the agreed moves. But they draw before the center even changes hands. Yeah.
And Adam may have demanded that, because if Hunter gets the extra center and Adam doesn't. Although Adam maybe picks up St. Petersburg, maybe not.
England can hold them there.
Yeah, but then England's not getting the dot himself, and England would need the dot in order to move up for a tie. So interesting way to draw this from a scoring perspective. I'm assuming Carnage is part of the Carnick.
It's basically Carnage's rank-based scoring, but with a center-based bonus for people who have the top. So there's big boosts for getting more centers when you're on top, basically.
Yeah, David implement that last year at Carnage, I believe, and I don't know if he had a name for it at that point, but Karthik was a.
I believe it's because it was talked about and discussed and put together by David and Karthik.
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
I will say my understanding of me being on this broadcast is here to balance out the Karthik hate. So I will have to note that I am contractually obliged to love this scoring system named after Karthik.
You get 300 points per center over second place as top. So if you're above by 1, you get 300 points extra. If you're above by 10 somehow, then you'd get 3,000 points extra, which would be the equivalent of 3 ranks, I believe. So pretty significant at that point.
Yeah. Which we do like that. There are a lot of scoring systems that have been developed over the last 3, 4, 5 years, trying to mind the gap and open gap or whatever they got. So tribute things of there. So we've got a shared top for round 1, board 1. Any final thoughts, Jamal, on potential misses where someone really could have pulled away? Other than the Austrian stab, or are you happy with the round 1 shared top?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think this tells me that either Hunter and Adam are playing the long game here, not wanting to break relationships early on, or the vibe of the tournament is a bit more casual and everyone's kind of happy to chill out, go for lunch. Everyone gets a decent score, so I think I don't hate this result. Right, this is a solid game of diplomacy that's played out with a couple of newer players. I think it's no one had a real chance to go for a big top except for Hunter, and I generally back Hunter's decision not to take it here.
The other thing is, this isn't the biggest of tournaments. You're guaranteed to be playing with the same players again, pretty much. So for Hunter to brutally stab both Andy and David here for the board top, and then have to play with them again in future rounds, that may come back to bite him in that situation. So that is one reason why Hunter may well have decided to hold off in round 1, whereas he may not have held off if that was round 3.
So with round 1, board 2, maybe we have a little explanation why Vig was distracted in round 1, board 1, is he is Austria, or he or she is Austria in board 2. We've got local England, Tommy Tornado Tombstone, whatever his nickname. I forget what the last one is. But Tommy, great to see you back. France, Alex Maslow, I'm assuming filling out a board. The rule is if you played more than 1 board per round, only your best score for that round will count. So we will see what Vig does here. Germany, the second DBNI player, the higher ranked of the 2 on this board, Ian Rudnick from Boston. Italy, Kayla Silverman, you may recognize that last name. They are related, father and daughter. Kayla traveling to this tournament. In Italy, Russia is Lucian Gagliola. I'm assuming we'll say the Boston area. And Turkey is Khalil Sheehan Miles. Khalil is an online player. Let me get the notes here. Online player playing in his first in-person game, so that's excellent. And that's the only new person other than Vig, who we, again, don't know how much experience, but that is what we see with these players. So same as the last game, College, two competitive players, Alex being a TD. I won't say will be playing competitively, but I think you were TD last weekend and rolled up the biggest score of the weekend. Is that right?
Wasn't the biggest score of the weekend, but I may presently have one of the best countries. Ian last year was on the top board of the Summer Classic. So Ian is definitely someone we know has the capability to get some great scores out of.
All right, well, let's see how he does. Adam was Germany in the last game, and he is Germany in this game. So German opening is a standard. What else do we see on this board, Jamal? Let's go. Let's do East and West. I liked that last time. So who Jamal do East, McAllis do West, and we'll try and get through this one a little faster.
All right, I'm going to take the East because the East is interesting because the Italian player, who I can't see the name, Kayla has gone straight into Trieste and backed it up with Venice. So they are on to to maybe get some Austrian dots here very early on. And it looks a little bit stacks on Vig again, which I feel for Vig here. If you're playing two boards and you're getting jumped in both boards, that is brutal, and it's not the way to treat a newer player, everybody. So I'm not happy with the Boston crowd for being a little brutal on this one. But gone to Trieste, gone to Galicia, Bulgaria, Smyrna Con again. Come on, Khalil, come on. Let us get rid of Smyrna Con as an opening, please, everybody. But yeah, the East is just it's a bit jumps on Austria with a standard bounce in the Black Sea. Kayla's gone to Tyrrhenian Sea, but I suspect that's going to Tunis, and that's just trying to play this RTI kind of alliance structure.
In defense of Khalil, what I will say is Smyrna to Con is much better if Italy's making a big attack on Austria and Russia's got into Galicia. Because this is the scenario where those armies actually can get out, and this is why that move was so common for so many years. In the West, well, we see a bouncing English Channel, which I actually hate to see if I'm Germany, because if I'm Germany and I see a bouncing the English Channel, it's really, really easy for EF to go, oh, mea culpa, we're not getting the jump on each other, let's just go kill Germany instead. So even though you'd think bouncing the Channel is always good for Germany because EF are fighting, it's so easy to disengage from that position that it may not actually work out in Germany's favour. Other than that, though, it's Tommy Anderson, so jumping into the Channel should be expected, and maybe that's why Alex bounced it himself.
All right. Oops, I got reveal still on. We'll reveal these fall orders. Stay in the West, McAllis. Those black arrows did not resolve the way of teamwork.
What I will say is that this is what I would call good for Germany. 3 builds in 1901. England's still in the Channel, having gone there in full, and France has supported you into Belgium. That can't go much better. Great news for Germany. Russia, it gets Sweden, and I'll let Jamal cover the rest. But 3 build Russia,
a 3 build Russia, and if, so Vig has fallen quite quickly here to a combined attack on Vienna, where they've prioritized, I guess, trying to take Greece, but not supporting themselves into Greece. So trying to do the cover, but falling to the cooperation. And so this might look like it's good for the Eastern Alliance structure, but if I'm Khalil, I'm worried here because this is a lot of cooperation from Russia and Italy, combined with a Sev to Rum move. And, you're taking Romania. That's good. You're in the Black Sea, but Sev to Rum is always a little bit tetchy for Turkey because it frees up that second fleet if Russia wants to do it. There's a world in which it's okay and you're blowing up the fleet and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I certainly, if I'm in the East, I'm going great. We've achieved our first objective, but this is looking wintergreen as a secondary objective and as a little bit of that's where the friendship maybe really lies in the East here.
What I will say for Turkey is that Fleet Rub is a lot less scary when there's no Austria-Russia cooperation. Because, yeah, a wintergreen may well be on the cards. Vienna definitely looks that way. But it's not very easy for them to then push those armies down to start threatening Bulgaria. So I think Turkey may be a bit better off.
I don't know how many times in DBN history I've ever seen 2+3s in 1901, but I enjoy seeing it here. We get 3 armies for Russia,
and two armies from Kayla in Italy. So Kayla making the big pitch here for potentially McAllis's favorite alliance, the Kraken, and Khalil not 100% on board with that, building the fleet in Smyrna. But it'd be interesting to see how this flips around because I actually really like this heavy army Italy. I think often people playing Italy think they have to be all fleets, but if you've got a friend in France and a friend in Turkey, why do you need any fleets? Fleets are just a waste of space.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't what the builds would look like if this was a wintergreen. These are very un-wintergreeny builds from Italy because now there's no fleet presence to go off to Turkey, and the armies either they're going into France in the vague hope that they can walk to Marseille, which may not be that vague given the French position, or they're piling into Austria, which is just not what Russia wants to see.
Yeah,
Right.
this could be a reaction to the 3-build Russia that they went, oh shit, we didn't realize we were going to do that.
I will say that this is kudos to Russia for building armies, because if Russia had put fleets down, they'd be in such a less flexible position right now. The fact that they've put armies down means it's very easy for them to turn this into a juggernaut instead, if that's what they want.
Instead, the West is turning it into a triple, which as an Australian, I'm obliged to love.
Almost as much as the Fogel, huh?
Yeah.
So you're not the way. We'll flip. You get to take the West this year. We're gonna keep you guys on your toes. Tell me more about this triple that you love.
Well, so the triple arises when the West decides that actually they all like each other, and then why are we fighting, and why can't we be friends? So they've decided they can be friends. Ian is one of the very few Germanys that's fine with it because they've got 3 builds and they can just hold Brewer and Belgium forever, and just they're somewhat semi-protected, so they're safe to go to the line and have a pretty decent play on Warsaw, not guaranteed, but a good spot. And then they've gone, they've gone to Baltic and can guarantee Sweden this year. So Germany's loving it. England has no reason not to love it here. With being in the Channel, they're in the dominant position, and they can just pull back to Irish, never get stabbed by France. That still looks like hey, I'm your friend. I'm just pulling back out of the Channel, and as a result, they get France sent south. Although France sent slightly ineffectively south, showing a little bit of not 100% trust, going to Portugal and not Spain or Western Med or any of those places you actually do want the France to go as a triple. So this is France maybe just going, all right, Tommy, prove it first, and then we'll see.
Yeah,
prove it, Tommy. Huh? Is that what you're saying?
This is a Western triple that's against Russia, but not against Italy right now. And given that Kayla's only got 1 fleet, that's about as good as it possibly could have got for Kayla. The East, Kayla pushes those armies upwards. Cool. I don't love Tunis to Turanian instead of Ionian. I think you would have liked one of those armies to try and convoy over Ionian in full, but it looks like Turkey, guessing correctly over Serbia, now gets both of those armies out, and Khalil is rewarded for his initial opening of going into Bull and Colm with the 2 armies. They've got both of them out, and they've basically got Greece in pocket as well. Russia's got all sorts of problems with Germany coming east, so the IT could be very, very rapid here because Vienna could fall to Italy right now. There's pressure on Romania. It probably won't fall this turn, but if Russia has to pull a unit back to defend Warsaw, for instance, then Romania is very, very much at risk as well.
There are sometimes in a game where a guess can make or break your game, and I feel like getting this guess right in Serbia or Greece here has absolutely turned Khalil's position from being very shaky into very, very good, and that combined with Kayla's apparent 100% commitment to the Kraken, which is if diplomatically that's happening, then okay, I can see the justification for the con move in that world if you are locked in with an Italian here from 1901.
This is tough though, because Turkey's got to make the decision pretty early, right? I mean, you're not going to just, I got my 2 and I'm sitting. Do you want to take the momentum? I mean, if you go for Romania or sit around for a year, figure Kraken or Juggernaut, which is your best option? What's the value of patience here, Michalis?
The problem with sticking with the Juggernaut is Fleet Romania is really bad for a Juggernaut, especially when Russia's got to pull other armies back to defend Warsaw. So Turkey, if they pick a fight with Italy here, unless Italy builds another army and doesn't build a fleet from taking Vienna, or Turkey finds a way to defend Vienna instead of prioritizing Greece or whatever, it becomes a real sort of one-on-one slog, which given the position that Italy and Turkey have, I don't see why either of them should want a one-on-one slog against each other here. Austria is dead. Russia is there for the taking. Go. Accelerate. Like, there is so much more growth for both of them if they work together here than if they fight each other. Yes, there's a fleet in the Med, and that is a problem for ITs, and it may scare Italy a little bit, but I don't see great growth for Turkey by fighting Italy. I don't see any growth for Italy for fighting Turkey. Kill Russia.
And they're doing it. They're going into Vienna.
You take the build.
I wonder how much that's agreed, though, because they're going into Vienna but not going for Romania. So Turkey's prioritizing taking Greece and Serbia, which I guess makes sense. In the West, Alex has gone, well, Tommy, thank you for approving it. Now I'm going to go take Irish Sea. I'll throw some tornado back at you. And Germany is, I think, realizing that their position was a little more precarious and they didn't have the jump on Russia that they wanted, have decided to pull back in and at least try and deal with this Italian situation, because all of the Italian armies might be going Kraken, or they might be trying to come through the center here. So you got to do something about it.
Italy is at a decision point now. They've got Vienna, Turkey's got Greece, Austria is not completely dead because they're still alive in Budapest, but they're de facto not in the game. Russia's pulled out of the Balkans to defend Warsaw, so they walked out of Galicia to defend it rather than put Ukraine in, which means that Russia's not really a player in the Balkans either, because their only unit left is a fleet and an army. Italy is presently allied with Turkey and with France. In a Kraken, Italy is not allied with France. that is not the next stage, is to send all the Italian armies into Germany. That's not how a Kraken really should go. So, given that Taylor's got to build, I would have to say I strongly dislike another army if that's what she puts down this time. But a fleet being put down, you've got justification to both France and Turkey. You're like, well, I'm going after the other one, so this is why I need my second fleet now. And if you don't put a second fleet down here in your Italy and you sort of get pinned in against Germany, then the opportunities are going to start appearing for Turkey to stab and get a monster position on this board.
I actually really like the southern triple here. Honestly, I've run it a couple of times, and it's an extension of the Kraken, where everyone doesn't need any fleets. Like, why does anybody need any fleets in the Med? If France is not going to go there, and Turkey's not going to go there, and Italy's not going to go there, it's all pointless. And I think Kayla is potentially pitching this, right? Pulling that fleet into Tuscany as the most, let me get this fleet out of the way, I'm not going to hurt anybody move you can possibly make. And I mean, what is Turkey's incentive here to actually come after Italy when they have so much growth available in Russia, right? Like, it's available. That is where Turkey is going to grow. They've got Romania, Sevastopol, probably Moscow there, and France is committed against England here. And they've got a convoy they can land on a guess somewhere, and they can potentially build Fleet Brest and push into the English Channel here. So I mean, I think there is a good case here for the three in the south just going. I mean, maybe the natural thing for us to do is fight, but why do we have to? Let's go. Let's do some unconventional diplomatic play. And you might see how powerful an unconventional alliance structure can be if they can actually get themselves all on board.
The problem that Italy has is that France is fighting England. So this southern triple would mean that it's just Italy in a one-on-one fight with Germany, while France takes English dots and Turkey takes Russian dots. That's not equal growth. That's just both of the people either side of you growing while you're penned in place. Just if France isn't coming in against Germany, and I don't think France really has the room to come in against Germany and England at the same time yet, Italy's not breaking through against Germany. They're not getting anywhere in that fight. That's almost locked up already. Budapest is there for someone to take, and other than that, there's little else that Italy's got the option of taking in the short term. What I would say is that if you're planning to not go after France and you want to park your fleet to look not scary, Tuscany is a bit scary. Tuscany can still go to Lyon. Rome is where you can park that fleet and not threaten anyone. Tuscany can very easily jump out and go the French way still.
Yeah, that's why I'm excited to see that build. I don't want to hear predictions on that one, but 10 seconds, Michalis. You're Germany. What are you building?
Ooh, I wasn't expecting you to ask me about Germany. I don't think more armies get you anything, so I'll say another fleet.
Agreed, Jamal?
No, I'm going to go Army Kiel or Army Berlin. I want to start to pop the convoy over to Livonia.
Well, we got that fleet in Kiel. We did get the fleet in Rome, not Naples, so that's harder to justify to France. Oh, I'm going after Turkey, so we'll be interesting to see that. But we do get a third Turkish fleet, which is usually not what we see in the Kraken either. So these builds are a little unique. Let's move on. No analysis needed on there. Let's see where they go to. Greece holds.
If I'm Kayla, alarm bells are starting to ring here. So I mean, you've built Fleet Rome, you've gone with Turkey here, and France in response has decided, well, all right, then I'm gonna come south because you come after me. The Western Triple looks like it is potential. Well, England and France look like maybe they're back together with Tommy deciding Norwegian Sea is a better place to be than any defense of Liverpool whatsoever. But Germany is now kind of getting a little cagey and turning around and realizing their growth is not east. But that fleet, Smyrna to Aegean, is just, I mean, what is it doing there? Like, what are those two fleets doing there other than just waiting to come and barging into the Ionian?
Yeah, I mean, the second Turkey builds a third fleet in a Kraken. I love Krakens, and if I see that as Italy, that's war. That's just it. There is no way you can put that fleet that isn't terrifying. So I am never committing against France because you just can't trust that anymore. Taylor's put the Tuscan fleet into Piedmont, which is a really awkward place for that to be. I would have much preferred to see Venice to Piedmont if this is an attack on France, but the attack hasn't gone well, and it looks like Taylor's in danger of being pincered by the two. The Juggernaut could well be back on here. Everyone has agreed to put Russia into Budapest, but as we now see, Turkey pulled Rum off the board when Russia pulled Rum off the board when Turkey took Rum, and it looked very, very agreed between the two of them. And this could well be a Juggernaut, as it appears to be, where Turkey has a massive upper hand.
Yeah, it's a late breaking Juggernaut with Turkey actually going, psych, I'm in the Ionian and I'm pulling out a Black Sea, and I was friends with Lucien all along. I think Kayla has one piece with France as a price of going into Piedmont. I think maybe that was a sign of trust that she showed that Alex did then honor, and didn't make any play on Tunis, and has decided to go and take that free convoy into Liverpool instead of continuing to go south. And Tornado Tommy's in trouble here, losing the North Sea because Ian's looked at this whole situation and gone, this is too chaotic. I got to clean this up somehow. And so, the play on England makes the most sense here, which, if you're not going to go after Russia and you don't want to fight France, who's about to build, then yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I think Ian committed to this as soon as he put Fleet Keel down. Like, that Fleet Keel just meant I'm coming after England. There's nowhere else that fleet could have gone at that stage of the game. And I'm not at all surprised to see France do this convoy either. Like, the fact that they put an army in Gascony during that disentanglement always made me suspect this might be what was coming in full. Tommy snookered by Alex and Ian here by the looks of it.
Yeah. Finland goes Army Paris. Interesting build in that situation with an FG working together, and two armies again for Lucian. So.
I don't think Army Paris is a scary unit to Germany, though.
Yeah. You want to have two at home, I get that, but interesting. See if I guess they don't need it.
This is a crushing turn for Kayla, because just to pause for a second on, I think, what the emotional side of this might be, right? Like, the moves to me have belied Kayla built some good relationships at the start and got really excited, right? This is the moves of somebody who thought they had a great alliance structure going. They got super psyched, super excited, and maybe a little overexcited, and just went along with probably Khalil saying, yeah, you don't need any fleets whatsoever. Just build armies. This is totally fine. Just go and park your fleet in Tuscany. Go and build a fleet in Rome and go after France. And Kayla, thinking that they had that really, really strong alliance structure on board, has gotten super excited. And now, this is the consequence sometimes of getting a little bit too enthused by an alliance structure, is you do moves that don't make sense, that you feel like you can do because someone has made you emotionally feel like, you're totally safe and fine. only to find out that they're convoying into Naples, and suddenly, a whole lot of holds, including Piedmont supporting Venice, is telling me that there's been a bit of a crash here, and that this is a really crushing position here, because there is a defense to be made here, but she's not doing it. So this is hard.
Yeah, that fleet in Piedmont is just such an awkward unit for bringing back anywhere good. It's 2 turns away from the Tyrrhenian Sea, which is the bare minimum of where it really needs to be right now. I may be one of the most pro-Kraken people in the world, but Fleet Greece is already scaring me as Italy, and building Fleet Rome instead of Fleet Naples, I think was what Kayla will look back on and go, that's where the error was made. Turkey is punishing it in full. Ian potentially has a Russian problem about to come his way. They've been working together in the north. Ian defended Norway last turn from an English attack, but those Russian armies look horribly placed to start coming into Prussia and Silesia. This game could lock up if that happens, because I don't see that actually working for Russia.
I was going to say Tommy has one guess to stay alive, and Tommy guesses correctly into Belgium. So Tommy will live, even though he loses the remaining home centers he has. The West, other than that, is pretty straightforward. And the East, they are making slow-moving progress, but the progress is still there. I don't think we need too much more about this. What is to be most aggressive with Turkey? What do we, another fleet coming down, or can we just move the fleet out of Ankara at this point if Russia's asking?
I mean, you have to put another fleet down because you haven't moved the fleet out of Ankara to Con this turn, which is probably what you want to see. And again, I mean, maybe Khalil is one of those players who always likes to keep their options open, because now I'm a little worried if I'm Lucian, because why is Ank not gone to Con, and why is Bulgaria not gone to Greece, right? Those are the juggernaut moves here to start to set up another convoy, to start to pull your fleets out. Bull and Ank now could go straight back into black and into rum, and you're maybe worried again here. And so maybe Khalil is going for the big board top and going to go pull the knives out all which way.
I think Khalil at this point basically has to make a decision on whether he can work with France, because if Khalil and Alex can work together here, there's worlds where Khalil can put Alex into Tunis, they take Rome for himself and go after Russia while Alex goes after Germany, which could work for both of them, and it could well be a rarely spotted FT that forms here. If you put the third fleet down, it becomes much harder to work with France.
And it's an army. Here it comes.
Wow.
Army Smyrna is the better stab one here, by the way, Khalil. You can go Smyrna to Armenia, and that's a much more brutal stab on Russia.
I've got to go to Albania. I've got to shove my armies across. Sorry, Lucian. It's the only move I can make.
Army Tyrolia goes, and France waves. Interesting.
Tyrolia, not Piedmont, going is interesting. That's, yeah.
There was the first sign of German-Italian cooperation last turn. It was Germany who tapped Galicia to help Italy defend Vienna there. So I do think that's a good thing for Kayla, that she seems to have managed to find someone else to work with. But yeah,
that seems to be true there here as well. But Turkey continued to make progress. Jamal, keep us.
Well, yeah. Turkey does have to go to Albania. They do have to shuffle their fleets around. That's a very, very important thing for Turkey to do. And Ankara holding and not going to Con is also very, very important. Suddenly, Ankara will have to go to the Black Sea because it's, for whatever reason, it can't go to Con. I'm not sure why it didn't go to the Black Sea this turn, because it definitely was going to get bounced in Albania and definitely, was never going to get into Con anyway. So you may as well send it to the Black Sea because that's the way to get it out. Turkey is making a lot of progress here, moving into Rome, getting a good locked up position here. I think Kayla's maybe, I'm not sure what Piedmont to Marseille is. Maybe that's just an attempt to try and find a survival center there. A bounce in Belgium, which is interesting. I'm not sure. I guess maybe they're trying to cover Tommy trying to go somewhere or whatever else. But they'll take it in the fall. That's fine. There's not a lot else going on here. Germany and Russia are a bit locked up, but the full German-Russian war is not on quite yet. So maybe Lucian is is maybe wanting to be a little bit cagey with Khalil's very, very pro Juggernaut Alliance play that's going on here.
I mean, Lucian's game right now is going to come down to whether Ian thinks his next growth is in France or whether it's in Russia. Because if Ian decides to rush as his next target at the same time as Khalil is setting up for what looks, even if the stab doesn't come this turn, it's a sword of Damocles that's hovering above Lucian's head, almost certain to come at some point. Because these French moves in the mid have almost immediately disentangled France and Turkey. Turkey hasn't got a third fleet to scare France. France isn't lining up on the Mediterranean Sea to scare Turkey. It's very, very easy for the two of them to work something out here. And yeah, if that happens and Germany also comes for Lucian, then there's very little he's going to be able to do.
Into the fall, the German-Russian war is getting closer and closer to starting with not too much progress, but Italy gets ravaged a little bit more here.
Italy does. And definitely Turkey absolutely needed to take Trieste from Albania and not from, say, Serbia, or to roll the armies around, which would have, say, made Russia more comfortable. So this is we see you, Khalil. We see what you're doing here. And if you can pull it off, and if Lucian's okay with it, well, then all power to you. But yeah, look, the rest of it is they don't kill Tommy. I don't know if that's a misorder with Holland or something here, but they fail to kill Tommy, so the tornado lives to spin another day. A little bit of France coming here to try and deal with Turkey and maybe make sure that that Italy either stays in the game, or at the very least doesn't lose all of their centers to yellow.
To be fair to Ian, I'm not entirely sure I'd want Alex's army from London getting into Belgium there. What are you building? The only place that's open is Brest. That could be another fleet which could come north. If it's Ian that gets it instead, I could understand that, but maybe Alex was not happy to let that happen. Letting France build Fleet Brest and get an army to Belgium and potentially go to Burgundy at the same time would have set Alex up for a really big stab on Ian if that had happened. So maybe that misorder from Ian was a misorder, and actually he just didn't want to see France get the army across yet.
And he's got one in the bank. It would have been two. So
and Ian now does have a Russian problem with Livonia slipping into Prussia, Russia building again. And Ian has no builds, so there's a diplomatic maybe misstep here by Ian, where he really maybe needed to make the case that he absolutely needed Belgium himself in order to deal with the Russian, and wasn't quite able to convince Alex of that.
Yeah. I mean, Alex wasn't Alex had a building pocket anyway and hasn't been using it. From an FG perspective, it's very hard to see why it wasn't Ian that should have been getting Belgium there, but. Lucian, yeah, he's put Army Moscow down because he's in a war with Germany, but it means that he's still got no defense against the Turkish stab, and he cannot fight Germany and Turkey at the same time. And if Germany and Turkey now work together in the Balkans, well,
nope,
not what happens.
It's not what happens, but you see the you see the Jamal special here, which is whoever is holding the most wins. So you can see Khalil very much in control here with just a whole lot of holds. Don't need to do anything. Don't even need to take Venice at this point. Let's just all hold here for a little bit and let Russia go to the line and let them really engage in this fight with Germany. And I guess they now decided that now is actually a good time to blow up Tommy and to let Tommy retreat to Picardy, I guess. But there you go. Why not?
Tommy, press is open. Go for it.
The problem with taking Norway in spring is that Skagerrak is a horrible place for that Russian fleet to be for Ian right now, because there's 3 on Norway, so you've got to worry about Norway. There's 2 on Sweden, so you've got to worry about Sweden, and there's a potential sneak into Denmark. This is a horrible position for Ian because he didn't have that extra unit. He's pulled out a Silesia, which may have been lost anyway, but I would have liked to say to Russia, prove it, force it, start doing it yourself. Maybe it was worried Prussia would go straight to Berlin, but walking straight out of Bohemia as well, I think I'd have rather walked out of Tyrolia than Bohemia here when Russia is your enemy.
There we go. I'll say. I agree, Keith.
Yeah.
We will see how long it survives. Not long. So And Germany does not escape well at all. Oof.
Yeah, that's the worst of both worlds, to not keep Norway and to lose Sweden. That was an ambitious move to try and cut Skagerrak support rather than do anything else. Yeah, I don't love that set of moves from Ian, and I'm pretty sure Ian doesn't love that set of moves from Ian.
Yeah, that is not good. And this German position is now very, very difficult to maintain. And you're really going to have to rely on France coming up to Burgundy here and supporting you, which I'm sure your erstwhile ally and Alex will duly do, and they will love doing that because it gives them the entire option whenever they want it. And
it's even worse as well because Russia's building and St. Petersburg is open.
Yeah. And Fleet North Coast to St. Petersburg is now a problem as well.
South Coast as well.
Yeah, and our friend Patient Khalil is still not moving that army out of Ankara. That army is long term docked in Ankara. They've put the blocks up. They're parking it there for life. It's not actually a threat to Russia, but it just means that Russia can never stab Turkey. There is just never a situation where Russia is able to stab Turkey in this game anymore, because that fleet, whilst not being in the Black Sea and not being threatening, it's never leaving Ankara. It is, and maybe Khalil is actually playing a long-term alliance play here, at which point I have more respect for Khalil, because I respected Khalil's ability to get this position in the first place. I respect it even more if he doesn't use it. This is really solid play here.
Well, it looks like Khalil there. He had to support in to put himself to Ionian and then didn't move to Ionian. I wonder if there was a late intern conversation between Khalil and Alex, where Alex took Tunis from Turanian Sea and Khalil didn't move to Ionian. The builds aren't necessarily what Khalil wanted to see with the extra fleet in Marseille coming down, but there could well be some sort of detente happening between Turkey and France again here.
Yeah, an interesting set. I was going to try and redirect over to France, who does put down the one in pocket and builds now for Belgium and Tunis to get to a three-way tie at 9 centers in first place. But there's play. Look, so usually about 1904 is we like to play who do you like or who would you want to be. Michalis, you're more senior in longevity on the network here. We'll make you go first. Who would you like to be in this situation?
France.
Jamal?
Yeah, look, I mean, instinctively France, because you have all the justification now to come into the North Sea to help and all these kind of things. And so suddenly your position on Germany is dominant. But also, I mean, I think Khalil has Lucien doing exactly what he wants. So I think, for the sake of being not France, I'm going to say Turkey here, because I think, Turkey has that option whenever they want it. And I don't see a world in which Turkey can't just sweep very quickly up all the way to Moscow without hardly anything standing in his way.
I think what is notable is that there's a freeway top at the top right now, or freeway tie at the top, and neither of us are picking Russia.
So that's what I was
no
saying.
way.
I would pick Russia, absolutely, because anyone who comes against me, I say fine. If you're going to attack me, the other one's getting the board top. So we're either all rolling together, or I'm taking it, and one of you guys are going to lose. So I think Russia has the best chance for playing Kingmaker if they can't be the king. So. Spring 1907, everyone, oh man, look at those French black arrows. Those are looking good. In the middle of the board, who can read that better?
They're there to lock up Munich and defend it, or they're there to take a bunch of German dots. But I have to be there to defend Munich. I have to be in Ruhr and Burgundy because of this situation around the stalemate line, just like I have to be in North Sea. They've pulled some units down into the Med where there isn't a stalemate, but it would take either of them a long, long time for a face-to-face event to actually make a breakthrough. So France can force Turanian Sea now. Woo. Eventually, they can coastal crawl down and force Ionian. But
I also want to point out Khalil's diplomacy here, because Khalil is trying his best to pitch to France. I guarantee you Khalil is talking to Alex every single turn, trying to make something work here, because Aegean has not gone to Ionian, right? Khalil is not going to the line. He is trying to make the pitch to say, hey, I will give you space. We can just detente in the med. We don't have to do this. Because Khalil has effectively lost some position here, right? Like now France can force Tyrrhenian Sea because Khalil has chosen to not go to the line. So he is begging Alex to take a deal here where Khalil probably gets Venice and Alex then goes and gets all of the German centers. It's a very strong diplomatic play. I mean, we'll see if it works, but I'm again, Khalil is impressing me more and more.
I want to give a shout out to Lucian as well. I don't know if it was deliberate, but Budapest and Bohemia misordering so you don't backfill Vienna just makes that Turkish stab on you a bit more awkward. It means that if Turkey wants to stab, they've got to use more units to make a supported attack on Budapest, which means they can't use it for a supported attack on Venice at the same time. So it as a small little move that looks completely inconsequential.
Yeah. Oh my God, Ankara's gone. Well, and Ankara has, I guess, decided that that Alex isn't actually on side. It looks like there was a misadjudication there because now the fleet is in Ionian Sea, so
Yeah,
we move it there in the fall. And it looks like Khalil has finally had enough with Alex saying no to his deals. So now Ankara is finally unparked and getting out like it should have done 4 years ago. I think the alliance structures are pretty well set here. France has taken Edinburgh because you definitely want to dot Germany here and make them pull something off the line. That's whilst you're also supporting Munich and not actually stabbing them, getting yourself an extra build, which you don't need, so that Germany can pull, or are they playing down?
Germany had a unit piffed in spring into Tyrolia, so Alex had the perfect justification for doing this, because Germany's never building again in this game. So
that's fair. Fair enough.
This may well draw now as well, because it's at the point where they're both on 10, and either Turkey has to make the massive stab on Russia, or the game has to end.
Yep.
Yeah. And the fleet move from Ang to Con was the indication that stab in Russia was that he'd finally taken that knife off the table.
Yeah,
still there as a vague possibility. Like, you could still go Con to Blah, Bud, Rum. They're all there, but again, first round of a tournament with people you're almost certain to play with again, and you're not guaranteed the top if France gets tossed board centers by Germany in at the same time. Yeah, I don't mind this.
Yeah. Solo chance that either who's asking for, of France and Turkey, who's asking for the draw and who's kind of accepting it, saying, I should play longer, but I didn't.
I think France is the one with more play in this situation. Like, as soon as Turkey has diplomatically decided, okay, I'm going to get rid of my option to stab Russia. I'm not going to, I am not stabbing Russia anymore. France is looking at this going, maybe I take a couple of dots out of Germany here and I can get the board top. But I mean, yeah, it's once you're facing a juggernaut that has locked in, it's pretty difficult, and you risk there some throwing happening to try and counter your top possibilities, because the relationship is maybe as such that Lucian, if that does happen, goes, well, I don't want you to get the top, so I'm happy losing Budapest and Romania.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, Alex is the TD. He's not even playing for score. I don't see much reason for Alex to prolong this game in the hope that he can force a better top. Like, there's not a solo on this board. There's no way Alex gets Munich and Berlin. So even if he got like the coastal centers, that are only 16, there's no path to 18 for Alex here.
Yeah. And with it not being center based, although the differential, maybe if France was playing for score, you could get some of the Scandinavian centers and get a few more. Maybe worth it, maybe not. So that's the end of
round one.
What's that?
Not in round one.
Yeah. Hey, every center counts. What we were on 2 weeks ago, Jamal, and there was a couple of centers in between a couple of positions. You get them. Every center counts the same way. They're not weighted more in round 2 or round 3. So you just need to have a great diplomat on the board to say, don't worry about that round 1. We've got a great diplomat joining us here, someone who is easily able to talk people out of their own centers. Tanya Gill, welcome to the broadcast.
Thanks for having me.
I've seen you on a couple of boards saying, do you really need that dot?
I mean, that's the way you get what you should never get, right? It's through diplomacy. So If you don't need force, why use it?
No. David Hood appreciates that. Here's our sharing of the top. We've got. How do we only have 365?
Because Alex isn't on the scoreboard.
Thank you. Yes, he is not on the scoreboard. Oh, good. Brandon, smarter than me, took that one out. So 3 at the top, heading into round 2. Going into a Saturday night after playing the first game was short. That game was a little longer. If you see where you're at in this board, middle of the pack, like Ian, John, and Andy, what's your focus in round 2, Tanya? When you know you've got to make a score to, you're in Carnage, and I know you've played Carnage, done well in Carnage scoring. You've got to get closer. You got to narrow that gap. 2,000 is too far going into a Sunday, right?
Well, I think, it's funny because I don't think my strategy really changes from game to game. I'm always going to try and maximize my score no matter what round it is, no matter what I'm trying to, where I am on the board. So they just really have to go for the best possible score. Like, that's really it. And yeah.
Okay. We will get there. We will head into round 2. Jamal, let's give you a break to go refresh your coffee. And we will see you back in a bit. Go to round 2, board 1. The players of such board will be there is former Bostonian, Austria, Randy Lawrence Hurt. England, Steve Shukin. Steve, I believe, is newer to this as well. Let's see. First tournament. So we got Hunter Catcher in France, Kayla Silverman playing another Central Power in Germany. Vig in Italy, so moving progressively west throughout the game. Russia, Ian Rudnick gets out of the middle. And Turkey, who, again, we believe it's their first larger diplomacy experience in Turkey. Let's go to the map. So, Tanya, we've been doing kind of an east and west. If you see something cool, don't hesitate to shout it out. But we'll get you started right away. Give us a whole board opening on the openings, and we will get to spheres in a bit.
Sounds good. So I guess the first thing your eyes are drawn to is the German moves, where Berlin is going to Belgium. I'm not sure if that was a misorder. I'm imagining that Kayla might misorder that, so that's unfortunate. However, and the fleet moves to Holland. So not really the strongest German start, but hopefully she can recover from this position. Meanwhile, France is in Burgundy. England opens north, and what else of note? Galicia is DMZ'd, which is good. And actually, I believe possibly another giant misorder here by Turkey, where Smyrna moves to black. Ankara doesn't have an order. So quite unfortunate, but Ian does get into the Black Sea. And of course, Vig going into Trieste, possibly arranged. We'll find out soon.
I don't remember the last time I saw 3 games in a row where Austria didn't open to Gal or Tree in any of them. That's unique. Maybe that's a thing in the Boston meta where Vienna to Budapest is more common amongst the locals there. But for Ian, what a start this is Russia. It's not the free build start we saw in a game already, but it's Sweden guaranteed. You're in Black Sea. Romania is probably going to go yours. Austria looks very friendly. Italy's attacking Austria, most likely, given the second armies come north. This is about as good as it gets for Russia, I think, in the spring of 01.
And Paris to Burgundy, unsupported, is usually not seen all that often. So you wonder if a misorder was known or a hold was known or what it might be. So
it's not too bad for Germany because Marseille can't follow up. It's in Spain, so
yeah, I love it. All right, Nicholas, both spots are interesting. Start in the east, and we'll give Tanya the west.
Well, the east is more great news for Ian, who just gets into Rum with the army. So Turkey should be pretty concerned by this position, I'd say. Italy, it does look like that was hostile between them and Austria. They stay in Trieste as Austria makes a single attacks in case it moves. Italy's building 2 and they're up in Tyrolia. This is a really nice position to wintergreen from if that's what's decided. Turkey doing an interesting thing with Ankh Con here and then backfilling Ankh with the army. I don't especially love that where you leave Smyrna as your only build option here.
Tanya in the West, France is rolling.
Yeah, France is rolling, but actually, I really love the convoy to Denmark. I mean, it was open, it was there to take. Fantastic fun for England, who then gets Norway as well. So 2 builds. Really, really unfortunate for Kayla here. But hopefully she can find an ally somewhere. Yes, 3 builds for France. Let's see if France can do anything with that. And other than that, we'll see what happens.
So Tanya, when you're in a game and you have such strong powers, E and F both building, more than average here, Russia's starting off strong. Are there games where you just have to speed up the pace because the board says so, or even with above average build size here, you're still going to roll with your original game plan?
I think it will be hard to crack France. So I would definitely be thinking about that. I would be thinking about whether I think I could take on France with this really weak Germany and what Russia's play in the whole thing is if I'm England. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to know, right? Personalities on a board, how are they going to react? Are they going to freak out if you run the board immediately, crush Germany, take the north of Russia? And do you want that? So I think there's a few things to consider there. There's no right or wrong answer. Who do you get along with and where do you see your next dot coming from? If you're England in this situation, maybe it is best to just eliminate Germany here and then try and clean up a really easy game. But at the same time, maybe you don't get along with France, right? So see who you can work with. I think you can go both ways still.
There was definitely a really strong EF on the table. I'd say these builds don't suggest that that's what's going to happen. 2 fleets from France. Maybe they're going after Italy, but I doubt it. Germany has made the more ambitious and I think probably better move to build the fleet there. The extra army is more defensive. It means you're never getting out of what you're in, whereas the fleet gives you options to at some point get something more and maybe find a path back into the game. So this could very easily turn into an FG still, and England may have to worry about that. We'll see.
Initially, it doesn't look that way with all those French or English fleets moving straight east.
I'm getting a Western triple vibe right now, so that might be how they solve this issue.
That is also something that could be done. Jamal isn't here to cheer it on, thankfully, so we can just both be miserable.
Oh, great. I'm not a fan of this.
Yeah, especially with Germany only getting 1 build out of it at the start. It does walk into Denmark.
This is the one situation where if I'm Germany, I'm happy with a Western triple, right? You have such a poor start. There's all the incentive for an EF to roll you. If they're offering you a Western triple, and I'm Germany in this case, I say yes. So I don't, for Germany, for once, it does make sense.
What I will say is that
yeah, go ahead.
This is the second Western triple in a row we've seen where England and Germany have made the Western triple moves, and France hasn't. Yeah. They're not lined up particularly well to go into Italy when they could have already been in Lyon and Marseille and Spain and sending everything south. So France is hedging again, and we already saw last time with Alex against Tommy. We could see it again here with Hunter just going straight up to Irish Sea, and he's already got armies in position on the right coasts to convoy north if that's what he decides to do. The east, meanwhile, is all against Turkey. It's an air.
Oh yeah, we didn't really go over the east last time, so why don't you start, McCallus, then?
Well, Italy takes Aegean and Turkey decides to pull the unit off the board. I don't know if this is a diplomatic play by Will or I'm out of here. It's all over. Bulgaria is fifth as well, which was forced, and Russia's now in Black Sea. This just looks like a great big air, which ambitious from Randy to do an air with Italy sat in Tyrolia, Trieste, and Venice with 3 armies, I do have to say.
Well, is that the knife to your back saying do it or we'll continue to fight and you'll go nowhere anyway?
I guess this is great for Vig. After 2 horrible games in the first round, this is a much better position for Vig, especially if France does do exactly this. And France going north, Vig coming east, and having all the power in this air while Russia's fighting against maybe not an EG anymore. That's not a Western triple in the north. I'll let Tanya go over that.
Yeah, but yeah, good call. Obviously, France hedging last turn means that they didn't really get behind the Western triple, which, I actually did not like the move of England giving up Denmark when they had Denmark there. So I was actually wondering whether this was the smartest move for England to actually go with the Western triple and give Denmark back. What we see here is, so Skag does not. Okay, so Baltic is supporting. So I guess England's the odd one out, is sort of what I'm gathering here. We have Russia supporting Germany to hold in Denmark while England continues to attack Ian. So it's interesting that Stephen saw those moves from France last turn and then decided still to continue on with the attack on Ian. So good work, I guess, on EG for flipping it onto, for Germany and France for flipping it onto England.
I want to give a shout out to Ian and Kayla as well. Like, Ian moved to Baltic Sea and Silesia in spring, seemingly anticipating an attack on Germany. Germany was seemingly making Western triple moves, and they have immediately managed to flip that, and now Russia's defending Denmark in alliance with Germany, which is good for both of them. Like, I see absolutely no benefit from them fighting each other here, so really well done for them quickly smoothing that out and getting onto the same page.
Let's see the adjustments. Austria, although if they would have gotten into Romania, they would have been able to. One of the centers would have been open. Nowhere to build, even if they did. Army Munich, FG and GR, Army Munich, but I guess you wouldn't waive it in this situation. So,
yeah, you want the third army regardless of where it's.
And the Turkish removal does build the army for defensive purposes, which is what I was thinking when I saw that originally. Now we see a little change down there. I'm assuming since Greece is not pulled off the board, that was not planned.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I feared for Randy in the AIR position, that doing an AIR with Italy having all those armies set up to attack you, Italy could very easily decide, actually, I just want the Austrian dots. And it looks like Russia is with them. Ball taps Serbia to help Italy out. The fleet in Romania makes this quite awkward for Russia to actually take anything more. I might have liked Galicia going to Rum, so you had some threat on Serbia this turn instead. But either way, this is pretty bad for Randy. And Turkey, they built that army and get to be really defensive, but the thing that can happen when you build that army and get to be really defensive is that everyone else just goes, well, I don't need to care about you anymore. I'll just take you out in 5 years' time while we go and take up the more pressing threat, because it's really difficult for Austria and Turkey to help each other out here. Bull is potentially there, but that's it. And yeah.
Yeah, and then on the other side, France is just running away with this. There's no opposition. There's nothing to stop the free dots. So good on them. And I think Denmark gets into the North Sea. So this marks, to me, the end of England, unfortunately. And then you see Ian positioning themselves to have more of a play to take the Scandinavian centers probably next year.
Good recovery by Kayla after the unfortunate moves in spring 01, but now that shifts again.
Yeah, I gave credit to Ian earlier for smoothing things out with Kayla when he needed to, but given that he was losing St. Petersburg and the FG wasn't wasn't helping him. Maybe credit again to Ian for again managing a reversal.
Ian loves a little stab here and there. Yeah, so Russia does take Denmark, which, you know, what happens after England dies, right? Maybe this is a good preemptive move on Ian's part. And continuing, Liverpool is gone, London is gone, so things look grim for England for sure.
Yeah, and in the East, it looks like Russia isn't siding with Austria after all. So Randy's managed, with Italy rather, Randy's managed to flip Russia here and gets to support Russia to Greece, which doesn't work because Randy also prioritizes taking Trieste back. Italy perhaps expecting Russia to be helping out as risked Trieste in a way that hasn't paid off. And also Italy has somehow upset Germany at some point in this game because Germany's cutting Tyrolia as well.
Well, I was thinking that was a really good move on Kayla's part. Why not create a little more like misery and destruction in the East? It doesn't cost her anything. Just do it. I like it.
Yeah, why not? And for Russia, maybe Ian realised that being in Gallon Ball when you don't have the threat on Serbia and the Wintergreen's not actually getting him anything. So maybe Vig made a mistake, should have offered Ian Vienna, and when that wasn't on the cards, Ian went, "Oh, all right, I don't. What's this Wintergreen do for me? I'll work with Austria."
Germany does build, taking London and having Denmark piffed, or rebuilds, we should say. So stays at 5. France slowly growing, as you mentioned, but with good positioning, builds a fleet. Fleet Naples for Vig, who has given up on the Northern armies, and then Army Warsaw for Ian. Best strategic build, Michalis, is anything stand out or go, oh, why did they do that?
Fleet Naples is good. It's Vig realizing that the war with Austria is not getting you anything more. Why put the army back down? Now this is actually a position where AI can get back together, and we could see yet another flip in the East. So Fleet Naples, I think, is a really sensible build on that front. If you put Army Rome down here, you're just so locked into the current situation, which isn't beneficial to you. So really like Fleet Naples. I think Germany should be quite worried by Fleet Brest.
So far, so good, though, for Germany on the French front, Tanya.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was thinking that the disband of Norway and Sweden, both of the armies, like, I don't know if I really love that. Your homeland's gone, you know, how are you going to survive? That's really what England's calculus should have been, and I think that getting rid of both those armies is a bit tough, even if Russia might have been your only ally here. So the France continues to roll, gets into Eddie, great, and half the units are holding, right? I mean, most of the units aren't doing anything, so really good position for France. But the EG seems I keep saying EG, FG seems to be quite good. A little bit messy, but I think they're gonna pretty much have it sorted by the end of this year. Yeah, St. Petersburg into Norway, because why not?
I asked this follow-up more as you've probably been on the other end of it, where when the gap opens like that. So if I'm England and I'm pulling, and the only way to get revenge at someone who's attacking me is to say, you know what, I'm going to create a void where Russia is now going to be much stronger. You're more likely the France or the Russia in the situation. What are you seeing as Russia there going, oh, okay, I got, or is that a chance to then go to France and negotiate and say, I know why he did it. Let's work together to grow together?
Yeah, I mean, you do both, right? Well, you go to France and you obviously say that. You have to, even if you don't mean it. And you probably don't mean it, but you do say that. And then, of course, you go to England and you say, hey, I'm going to help you survive. So you do both, and then you decide what makes most sense in the moment.
I mean, I wonder if Hunter's been watching some videos from the 2023 DBNI, because this France position is very reminiscent of that France meta where France took out England, then took out Germany, then took out Scandinavia and won so many of those boards one after another. And yes, English Channel had to go there because there was a hostile English fleet in North Sea, but France is making absolutely no sign of wanting to commit into the Med, and Germany shouldn't like that. Like that's not good for Germany in a long-term FG.
And that's strong play from either Hunter and or Vig, because we believe Vig is younger, and to know the balance dynamics of France and Italy to standoff is fantastic. So cheers to one or both of them.
Yeah, I mean, Vig, maybe he made that the play to try and get AI back on that together, but it didn't work in spring. May have worked in fall though. It looks like Austria took Greece, which was Turkish at the time. Italy at the same time takes Trieste. So the chaos continues in the east. One side holds out an olive branch, the other doesn't take it, and then it just flips around. Russia, meanwhile, has decided that Turkey's brief period of returning to relevancy in the game is too much, and now it's time to be in the Black Sea and start putting some armies down and taking that for himself. So I like this for Ian. He's got Randy on side, and the relations between Austria and Italy must be so bad after all of these like mini stabs one after another on each other that Ian must be loving this diplomatically.
Yeah, it's not so bad for Ian. Although now he might have a French-German problem upcoming. So France does get into Norwegian Sea, and I believe England is down to just Sweden now, right, after this? Or what happened with Kiel? No, it held. So lots of... What's with the thick line? Does that mean it got into north? Is that
got a lot of support. Did Skagerrak support it in as well?
It looks like it. You can find out.
Yeah, I mean, I think most likely at this point, Stephen, it did not.
Skagerrak supported Yorkshire.
Yeah. Okay.
So 4v2.
Either way, it's easy. It's just about cleaning it up, and then we'll see if France decides to attack Germany or decides to attack Russia.
Or both.
Or yeah, maybe.
Yeah, straight lineup for both France and Russia yields 2 northern fleets for each of those. Another rebuild of a Turkish army in Ankara for defensive purposes, and Army Rome after the retaking of Trieste.
I have to say, even if you're fighting Austria, I don't especially love that. I'd rather build the army Naples and try and convoy over with it. I don't think Rome's got much prospect of getting anywhere relevant for quite a while. And as we see, here it goes to Tuscany and eventually gets to Tyrolia in like 1906. And that's such a slow path when you had to.
It could also be a build that just sort of signals to France that, hey, don't really think about coming here. It's not going to be as easy as you think, right? Which, if I'm Italy at this point, I'm freaking out a little bit, so.
Hunter's saying, Russia, don't worry, I got centers up north. I got centers to the east.
So Russia, having got into Black Sea and seemingly planning to go after Will again, actually used this to flip on Austria and take Serbia. Austria backfills Bulgaria by retreat from Greece while losing Greece to an IT cooperation. So this east is some glorious chaos. That's quite the dipsy doodle between the three of those there.
Which is such a good position for France. Like, they don't even need to go there. In fact, I think if France did move east, the east would sort itself out really fast. So why not just let them, be in their little chaotic corner and get gains in the western side of the board. So, Eddie to York, Liverpool to Wales. Looks like London is... going to be a little, and then the move from Picardy to Belgium. Germany's next. That's the decision that's been made.
Although they're going for Norway as well, so it is just Hunter attacking everyone in the north.
Yeah, and France doesn't really need to have an ally at this point, I don't think.
Yeah.
Like, why? Right?
Is that like as long Italy's never coming west in this game. There's never a scenario where Italy's going to be able to come west. So great, the north is mine.
Well, France doesn't attack Germany this turn, tries to make some eastern progress up north, and is rebuffed.
Knowing that Italy had to send Tuscany to Piedmont, I really dislike not taking London there, I think.
I think I dislike it too, but it could also be like, why not just get a better position, right? I mean, Berlin is moving to Prussia, like, right? Like, if that was the deal, then you don't really need London. You know, Germany will walk out of their dots. You can do it next turn, which seems to be the case. Like Holland to
Russia's
hell,
building
Berlin to Prussia.
3.
When France is right in your corner, I mean, come on.
But Russia is building 3 here. Like or is it 2? No, they've lost Denmark and Bull, but they've gained Vienna, Budapest, Serbia, and Sweden. So yeah, they're just building 2, only building 2 here as Russia. Austria is not dead because Greece got walked out of by Italy, who used Greece to take Bulgaria. Great, cool, fun, sure, why not? Turkey is still on 3, didn't lose Khan to a combined Austro-Russian attack, because that looks like Russia did support Bull into Khan whilst taking Austrian dollars.
I'm sorry, Tanya. I should have had you in the East for your first game.
No, this is great. Let McCullough do all the hard work.
So Russia does get 2, puts down 2 armies to defend against the rogue Prussian army. Fleet Naples, and then Austria keeps Tyrolia. Fleet Naples indicating war which way?
East. Like that's still not coming west. Like, what are you following up with? Adriatic coming all the way around. And we've said these games seem to go to about 1907, 1908-ish. Adriatic's not a threat to France yet. Tyrolia. Okay. I'm really pissed at someone. I'm not entirely sure who, though.
Well, won't be there long enough to know about it, yeah.
So, yeah, that unfortunate for Tyrolia, of course. Good game, Randy. Better luck next time. Meanwhile, in the West, yeah, I mean, if France can convince Germany to go east and then fill up all the space, this is a perfect game for France. Like, fantastic position. Not a single enemy the entire game. So definitely a diplomatic victory. And yeah, North takes Denmark. So I believe unless England can find somewhere to fit in the fall, they're almost out as well. And I want to say FG moves, but it feels like France moves with their puppet is a little bit the vibe I'm getting.
I imagine now that Germany's got Denmark, France will take London, because I've got, like, you're not going to go down from it, so I've just got to walk in. And this was the price for Germany surviving for now. The East, more chaos. It looks like this time Russia is trying to attack Italy, offering Turkey support to Bull, but Turkey doesn't take it because they've gone to Greece. Russia does get into Trieste. So Randy, he was pissed most at Italy. That was his final move, was tapping Venice. Didn't actually matter, but if Venice had been defending Trieste, that would have made all the difference to ensure Russia could take it. Ian's got some work to do this turn, though, because Trieste is sort of hanging in the breeze a bit, and Turkey's threatening Sev as well. If Ian can come through this turn, holding Trieste, not losing anything elsewhere, maybe he can still salvage his position. Otherwise, I think Hunter is just going to top, and the question would be how much buy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that France was going to top from a while ago, but Ian needs a friend desperately, and I don't see one on the board. My best bet would be trying to convince Germany, they're going to destroy you next. You have to keep playing that, but maybe that's not going to work.
London left alone.
Yeah, and why not, right? Have Germany build another army and push it onto Ian, right? Then you get. I don't see why taking London is going to make a difference. Just have Germany go east. That's great.
Germany's not building.
Nope. Baltic slips into Kiel from behind.
England is not dead.
Fantastic.
It looks
Really good.
also that Russia, with that Prussian move there, I wonder if that was a hostile support in case Germany tried to self-bounce Berlin, and that this was some play between England and Russia, because I don't see any other reason for Prussia to support Kiel to Berlin unless it was deliberately trying to open Kiel for England to sneak in behind. So Ian's doing some really fun, clever moves in this game, but it's not coming up his way in the East. However, he doesn't have to fear an IT, as that cooperation lasted all of one turn, with Italy now stabbing Turkey to take Greece back. So the East remains as chaotic as ever.
Oh, that could have been fun. So, Hunter picks up 2 and had a rebuild from the Pith in Barents, but leaves 1 in bank for the future. Winter 1906. We did it last time. Usually it's about 2 years later than we do. I won't ask who do you like, because I think we would all agree that France is the pick. How high can France get?
Is there an incentive to get super big in the scoring system? There is?
Yeah,
Yes,
there's
so
a gap. Yeah.
The more centers you have over second place, you get 300 points per center in that gap. So running the score up more by having a big gap over second does pay off quite heavily.
And in this case, with Italy and Russia fighting, it won't. I mean, obviously they could turn to say, okay, let's stop France, but as we've seen from Vig all day, fought Randy, made up with Randy, fought Russia, made up maybe. So
yeah, I was gonna actually say that I'm not sure if I'm France that I bother taking out Germany, right? It really depends on how much I think I needed to win. Because then what was left was locking up the fleets in the south with Italy and then just taking German dots. That's really all that was, maybe St. Petersburg. But that's it. So
St. Pete was close to guaranteed.
Yeah.
So maybe you play just for that. And the situation in the East with this Italy-Russia war, they could have been taking dots off each other in some way, which actually helped you grow without even taking the centers off Germany. So all it would have taken is, say, Turkey to gain a dot at one of their expense, and that gap could go just that extra 1 between you and second, which would in turn have got you some more bonus points. But it's 1907. Like, I don't know how late at night this is, but maybe Hunter and everyone else just wanted to go do something else, socialize.
Yeah. Sometimes you just want to end a game, right? You don't want to keep playing, and that's fine. It's a great score anyway.
Yeah, the first set was 7,000 or greater, and with that 2 center gap, you get those 600 extra points. So benefit there. I know Jamal likes to run up the score when possible. Jamal, are you taking this deal if you're France, or do you take the 2 or 3 that you know you can get? I think you got it on mute. Oh, I got you on mute. There you go.
There we go. Now I'm not on mute anymore, and the sun is up in Australia, so my shadows are all weird. But I think it depends on your incentive here. I mean, this is a good board top. There's a lot of points. You keep your friends. You haven't really hurt anyone this game, and all the centers you've taken have been somewhat agreed. I mean, there's a diplomatic reason to not need to inherently take everything here, and I don't know how important the tournament is to people too, but you take a massive score here, you might get targeted in the last game. We just saw that game ended at 10:30. It's reasonable to draw here. I think that's fine.
There's only 2 boards in this tournament, so there's a good chance that you know what's happening on the other board as well, and you can see that you don't need to run up a score, perhaps, that sort of thing.
And I'm not sure how competitive people are for Boston Massacre this year, right? I think go have fun with your friends, play some diplomacy. That might be the vibe. And in that case, this was a great game.
If you have a chance for a solo, it doesn't matter where you are, whether it's a fun game, competitive game, push it.
I think it'll be very hard to solo here.
I see 15 relatively easily. Beyond that.
I don't know. I want to know. I got to find out if we can get some people to find out if Vidge was really fighting everyone. If enough chaos could have been sowed, where hey, why don't you just tap this unit one time? Seen some fun results with some shenanigans late at night at tournaments. So
the problem here though is if you do want to go for a massive solo score, like you have to. I mean, look, Hunter is also a nice person, right? And the two people you have to stab in order to actually get this is Kayla, who got brutally stabbed last game, and Vig, who got jumped on in both of the games they were playing last game. Like there is a human reason to not go for this here, which is that the two people you'd have to essentially screw over to do it have just had terrible games, and you want them to keep coming back and keep playing. Like I don't know. There's a good community-based reason to just take the top and be happy with it.
Yeah. And you're all softies, so. All right, let McCollis go get a break. What time? You're getting late in your evening, so no coffee for you. You can have some decaffeinated tea or something. All right. Ooh, yeah, I know it's early for him. Yeah, right on time. So, all right, so that's board 1 of round 2. Let's go to board 2 of round 2, and that we have. Oh, that's right. I was supposed to name these for the Boston sports team. So. We had we got the world champion, the NBA champion, Boston Celtics. We'll call this one. That one could be the Patriots, the Bruins. Go Boston, yay! Austria is Lucian. Lucian was Russia in that first game. Got off to a very strong start. England, longtime player. We hear from David Hood. So David Harshbarger, France, Khalil. We saw him in the corner. Last time. Jamal loved watching his style, so we'll see how Khalil does this time. Germany, John Bin. Italy, Brad Blitzstein. Good old Brad. Haven't seen Brad in quite some time, but a longtime player. Was in one of the. I think he was in one of the initial DBNIs too. So he's not just old school face to face. Got him in Italy from Vermont. Russia, April Milovic. We've seen April. I feel like I know that last name. A virtual player, maybe, and Turkey, Andy McLaughlin. So no Adam Silverman in this round. He sat out, he said, and received 4,000 points for just sitting out. So as a bonus for volunteering to sit out, he earned more than 5th, 6th, or 7th place would in. So good for him. And let's go to the map. All right. Let's keep going. Put Tanya in the east this time, and Jamal in the west. But obviously, as we've been saying, if you see something fun, have at it to debate it out. I'll even start. This is about as online openings as we have seen, except for Jamal's favorite Turkish opening. It's not you're in the West, so we won't even let you talk about it. Tanya, you missed it. Smirna Khan, I think, was in both games in round 1. Give me the pros for it, because Jamal hates it.
He hates it? I actually almost always open like this as Turkey. But I like it. I mean, it's easy. Why complicate matters? You move Khan to Bulgaria, Smyrna to Khan. You've not made any enemies. You've not signaled anything. You don't need to get. You know what? I hate that. You need to get Ankara to Khan. Like, forget it. Let it be there. Let it somehow get into the Black Sea. Like, it makes it flexible. And when you move like this, it's harder to get that fleet out, which sometimes you can use it to tell Russia, hey, maybe you can let me into the Black. And often they let me into the Black, so I don't mind it. But let me do the rest of the board too. So bounce in Galicia, and then Venice to Trieste. But whether it's ranged or not, who knows, to be seen. Otherwise, Russia is focusing on the east. And yep, that's it.
Yeah, and over in the West, pretty standard set of play here. Decent EF cooperation with the move to Edinburgh, not Yorkshire. So David is not at all concerned about Khalil, because Khalil I'm going to call it now. And having never met this person, Khalil is a master diplomat and is just this is my new favorite player in this tournament for no reason other than just I like their moves. And Germany's gone to Holland, which again I underrated. I mean, me and Chris Brand have had some good conversations around the benefits of moving to Helgoland. But if you're not going to go to Helgoland, why not go to Holland? Why is everyone obsessed with Denmark? Denmark's fine. You just take it with an army. You're never going to bounce Russia out of Sweden anyway. This is more flexible. I kind of like it.
Hopefully there is no bounce in Denmark. There is not.
No, but Belgium is where English fleets go to survive, as someone in the comments was saying earlier this game. So again, I do genuinely really like this play from David. So there's if you do trust the West here, which it looks like they all do, again, they're getting help into Belgium from everybody. I mean, why do you need to put the army there? The army's not actually useful. The army is much more useful in Norway. And if you're going to get into Belgium, I'm not worried about Germany taking the North Sea, because if they really do, then I'm building 2 fleets, and what are you going to do about it? So yeah, it's a slightly perceived riskier play, but I think it pays off really, really well, because that fleet in Belgium is so much more flexible and so much less of an incentive for Germany and France to work together to pop. And France has gone and done the Tripoli moves as well. The Australian triple is happening. And they've gone to Spain's south coast and, Fleet Marseille, Fleet Brest here. We're going to go barge into Italy now, I think.
I think my issue on England's end is, I just don't like leaving the North Sea open, and that would be my fear with moving the fleet to Belgium. This might not have been a consideration in this particular setup with the fleet in Holland. So, but yeah, that's what I would really be considered about. And yeah, super aggressive mid-Atlantic Ocean to Spain south coast. So we'll see if this time the Western Triple actually does happen. And then over in the east, we've got Ankara to black. See, this is great. If you're in Con, how do you make the pitch to go to black? You don't. So we get a Turkish fleet in the black, and other than that, pretty standard. Vienna covers Budapest. Seems like there's a bit of trust between Russia and Austria, with Galicia not being bounced. And actually, Apulia is convoy to Tunis. So possibly we have RT versus AI. Let's see.
We mentioned earlier a couple of +3s in 1901, which is rare to see. And Mid-Atlantic Spain South Coast, I think, is a 1 out of every 50 games here on DBN. So I am thrilled to see what happens from it. We do get those 2 fleets for France, as you mentioned, Army and then Fleet Eddie in England. So things are looking triple-ish. So we're glad to have Jamal back on the broadcast to celebrate that. In the east, Army Ankara after being let into the Black Sea. So see that, and 2 fleets for Italy, seeing maybe what they see out of the west. Army St. Pete, I love Army St. Pete, especially with another army over there too. So let's just go on to spring 1902. Tanya, let's start in the east. Army Ank already moving.
Yeah, I really am shocked at the build to begin with. I don't think you should have a 3rd army as Turkey. You should really need that fleet no matter what, even if you plan on attacking Russia, which, given that Brad put the army into Tunis, you should really be reconsidering whether you want to attack Russia. So strange moves from Turkey, in my opinion. Meanwhile, Russia actually just holds Sev. Maybe scared about. I would cut black just in case, but or use it to support hold Romania or something. But it just holds. Ukraine also holds. I wonder if there were maybe misorders or something went wrong there. And other than that, yeah, Italy is making. Ionian to the Aegean, so you can always turn around and take Greece from Austria if you're feeling fun about it. So things are a bit more open.
And look, and in the West, I was going to call out that that Fleet Eddie Army London was the wrong order for the Western Triple kind of builds, where you probably want the army in Eddie and the fleet in London, but maybe David, having sniffed out Master Diplomat Khalil's intentions here, has gone, nah, let me just keep a defensive unit there. Let me have a good excuse for that, which has turned out to be very astute, because that fleet Spain South Coast was a bit of misdirection. I think seeing Brad's 2 fleets in Italy went, I'm not going to get anything. I'm not going to make any progress there anyway. Let's go and turn around the other direction and see how that goes. And yeah, come into the English Channel, Mid-Atlantic Ocean. Looks like an agreed bounce in Burgundy with Germany. And yeah, I suspect Rouen de Belgium is agreed with England, because England's just moved straight out. But Western Triple, you Americans don't know how to do them, so they're collapsing immediately into an FG here. And I mean, you have a defensive unit, which is good for David, but unless you're really ceding Norway here and sending that army straight back to the mainland, you might be in trouble.
Just one follow-up note from Tanya's point about leaving the North Sea. So no potential bounce on the Channel this time, with North Sea being gone, and now a guaranteed forced convoy into Wales, potentially, with Kiel going to Helgoland, trying to move north to cut potential English Channel support there. Be interesting to watch, although the convoy comes from Picardy in that case. So I thought Portugal up and over would be the way to go.
Yeah, Picardy makes sense, particularly if you're trying to make peace with Germany. The slight little tactical misstep here is Portugal holding rather than going to Spain to at least, have some defensive play back into Gascony in case something goes wrong. But if you trust Germany, why would anything go wrong? You've gone to Wales, you're in Irish Sea, now you play on Liverpool. David does do the kind of correct play and just says, I'm not keeping Norway anyway, may as well send it back to the mainland, and then I can disband Barents, and I can have at least a bit of a defensive position and make it hard for them. But you got an army in Wales, you got a fleet in Irish, Edinburgh, and the North Sea. This is not looking good for David in the West, and April is benefiting from that by the pickup of Norway, which will really help her in the South.
Yeah, and she likely needs the help in the South. Seems as if Turkey really, really trusted the Fleet Brad. So good on them for figuring out a way to navigate 3 fleets and 3 armies. Fantastic. So yeah, Brad did sort of turn around on Austria there, and that's why I'm actually quite hesitant about giving Trieste up in 1901 when I'm Austria. Like, I don't like to do it. And I know it's a very popular move between AIs, but it just gives Italy a lot of power. And when you're Austria, you're quite vulnerable in the middle of all that. So not too great. Meanwhile, Vienna moves to Galicia, and Trieste just follows up into it. So it's quite unfortunate for Austria here, who will have to disband too.
I also wonder whether this is agreed, right? Because Greece tried to move to Bulgaria, and it looked like it thought it was supported by Serbia and Romania. So I mean, maybe Lucian's just decided to play Janissary here and just gone, you know what, I'm done for. I'm in a bad position. So my best play is to let Brad have his way and rely on mercy.
Yeah, and if that's your thought process, that's not right. You had so much play. You don't need to walk out of your dot to be there's no reason for it. Yeah, I would be very. Does Budapest support Romania holding there?
It looks like supporting Romania. So why aren't you supporting Vienna de Galicia if you're going after Russia?
Why go to Gal? There's no reason to support hold Romania and go to Gal, right? I just feel these moves lacked vision.
Yeah. And Greece is expecting support from Aegean into Bulgaria and offering Greece as the follow-on. Hey, you get one, I get one, and the support from Aegean never came. So I want to do reveal. We haven't done reveals on here, but before we get here, we've got 0 armies in France and German homeland. Belgium is neutral, and Bohemia is technically Austrian province, I believe, as the lines on the map are drawn. So winter 1902, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
England, Norwegian, and Barents. Get those out of there. Army Warsaw, so it does get one to help down south. And Austria pulls Albania and Serbia.
The pull of Serbia is pretty brutal here. I mean, again, I agree with Tanya. I don't know why you would willingly cede this. And, upon reflection, given that it's a 2-drop, it's probably a stab by Italy rather than anything agreed. But then why are you not punishing Italy for that, right? Why is Galicia still on the board if Italy's just stabbed you? Serbia is, as Karthik says, the key to the Austrian centers in the Balkans. So why are you giving up any of your position there? That's rough.
Yeah, I was gonna say that you keep Gal to take Vienna back. Like that would be the only sort of move set if you want to. You see that it's open. There's no support on Vienna, so you can take it back. But yeah, the moves in the first place were not the best, and Serbia's lost. It's a lost cause. So not great for Austria. I don't think they'll be around for much longer anyway. But they do get Vienna back, and Brad moves against France. So that's interesting to note. So I guess they figured we've got, and why not maybe Italy, Turkey, Russia alliance here. Bulgaria takes Serbia, still sort of attacking Russia, but not that seriously maybe. So let's see if any alliances switch at this point.
And Brad has the walk into Marseille here, which is, I guess, this is the little bit of the cost of Khalil's very hyper-aggressive anti-English play, right? So he called out before Portugal holding and not going to Spain. Now, it got convoyed anyway, which, again, I'm not sure why you convoy there rather than just push Wales up there when this is a possibility, but you've left the back door wide open. A walk into Marseille, they'll be bounced out of Spain. They're going to lose Western Med. This is a really rough turn for Khalil, who's gone for the big France-Germany alliance play, but not realized that the back door is wide open to Brad, and you've lost your south here, pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah, and that's the problem when you move like your fleet in 1901 to Spain's south coast. You're gonna freak Italy out in some way, and they're gonna have that in their head the entire game. So it's just not good signaling, in my opinion.
For sure. And as you can see, it's all taken. So Marseille goes, Spain is bounced, West is gone. Germany's coming to help in Burgundy, which I'm sure John is loving this. It's always nice when you can have your allies invite you next to their centers in order to help them. It's where you want to be, and you're the most helpful person in the world, and they love you for it. So John has suddenly really leapt up in position here. But Khalil is picking up London in order to at least not go down. And Liverpool. So they are going to get a build. So they're going to have some playback to defend. And John, for his troubles, is also taking Vienna. That's a really good turn for John here.
I love that German position. It's so fun. Belgium to Burgundy. I'd love to be in Burgundy for any reason. That's fantastic. Meanwhile, actually, Brad's position is quite good too, especially if you can convince Turkey to build an army and just keep building those armies and try and get into Russia. You are so secure on that side. So lots of good stuff, I think, from the Italian player as well.
My favorite is that Austria survives with Turkey walking out of Serbia, so he will stay in Galatia, even at 1. England keeps an army on the Isle, does build the army in Caen, which will be fantastic for hopefully convoying up and over, depending on how friendly you can use the other armies over there. And Army Paris is the defensive unit back in the west.
I'm trying to figure out Russia's sort of role in this game so far, because it hasn't been very impactful. There hasn't been a lot of alliances, a lot of they're sort of just existing in their space, holding their centers, not really making moves. I don't see an ally. I don't see any kind of coordination. So I think if they want to survive, they really need to get themselves into this game somehow.
It's a great Jamal. We're 3 years earlier than we normally do. We'll do a who do you like? I'm going to make you pick Russia. Why do you like Russia in this spot?
Well, all right. So if I'm April here, I like Russia because I'm necessary, right? So Russia is the only thing that is holding back the Kraken from completely destroying this board, right? And so there is a big pitch to John, which is you've got some Tyrolia and Vienna position. You need me here. You cannot kill me because you need my armies down south to slow down Turkey. And so you are extracting a huge amount of diplomatic capital from John to essentially say, you can choose to attack me, but if you do that, the game is over and Turkey and Italy are just going to sweep through. And so you might not have a tactical or strategic position that's going to be hugely dominant, but diplomatically you have all the cards because you're the one that is going to make or break whether or not the East ends up beating the West.
Tanya, if you're accepting that argument as John, how do you say, okay, here's my plan. We're going to go after France. How do you make a GR work the rest of the game where you as Germany will be the beneficiary of that?
That's the thing. I really don't accept it. I won't this year. I wouldn't attack. I would be so on board. Like, yeah, you're so right. I'm not going to attack you. You focus on those centers. Let them keep focusing east. And then when it's convenient for me, I'll just take the dots. I don't think Germany really needs Russia to slow anything down. And I'm not convinced Russia can slow anything down. So just take the dots. That's how I feel. Maybe I'd wait a year though. I don't know if I'd do it in 04.
John is somewhat listening retroactively to that advice and is to take the last remaining center.
He's listening, but April's not doing what she has to do, which is go St. Petersburg to Moscow and start to pull the armies back down, right? So, yeah, I mean, April has just essentially reversed her own case if that case was made, because for that to work, you actually have to be doing the defensive moves, which she's not. So that's pretty rough. And FG coordination looks supreme here again. They're convoying back to Portugal. They're just finishing off the last of England. So I mean, I'm not sure that Russia has done themselves any favors here. And again, as Tanya said, more passive play leading to a really difficult spot.
Yeah, and you could tell, it was 1902 where they held Sevastopol in Ukraine for no reason, and you're wondering why. Do something with them, right? So definitely the Russian player needs to just be more aggressive in the future. Next time you play, you can't just sit on your 7 dots. You need to be making moves.
Well, and if you go back to 1902, don't roll it back, but if you remember they had support offered to go to Bulgaria, right? There was a set of moves, or I think if they'd tapped Black Sea, Austria would have gotten into Bulgaria or something. There was a set of moves where they had a relatively viable alliance to air Turkey here and keep them in the box and be part of it, and then they chose not to.
Or I guess survivability, poor decision. Galicia would have made it to Budapest if Lucian accepted the German support. I know it's hard to accept that after Germany took the center from you, but potentially a chance to knock Turkey back a little bit that would have piffed that unit, which would have been helpful to slow down the Kraken, but did not. Nice convoy back home to get Wales back to Portugal.
Yeah, this is a great position for Turkey, by the way. I really like it. Italy's moved totally away from you. You're getting Romania, you're getting Sevastopol. You can put down whatever you want. You can take Italian dots if you really want. It's good. Very good.
Well, you can, except Italy's now decided to give up the French war. They've gone Spain to Lyon. And held Western Tyrrhenian Sea. So there's something diplomatically going on here that's fascinating. I'm not sure whether Brad's decided to get a little bit worried. I mean, I don't know why you'd be worried about Turkey here. Turkey's done all the right things. So this is an interesting play by Brad. To me, this is saying something has happened diplomatically I guess maybe Brad realized that Portugal could go walk into Spain, which it didn't end up doing. So maybe they realized that there was not a hold, but I mean, there was. Western Med supports Spain and it holds, and they're still guessing Marseille, right? Yeah.
Well, Marseille's lost. There's no way to keep it
Right.
if they, so I get walking that back to Piedmont to either bounce out of Piedmont or like save something. But I don't understand so Portugal wasn't ordered, Mid-Atlantic, a support that didn't go through, Western, everything's holding. Like, why not tap some stuff? I don't know. It's not optimal from, I think, France or Italy. So I wonder what happened there.
We will say for the viewers, there are sometimes at tournaments where if orders aren't useful and they don't move, sometimes holds or supports might not be put in. Obviously, with Spain moving, it wouldn't been able to receive a hold. But like if Turanian was supporting Western Med or Western Med was supporting Spain, these order sets are as accurate as we get them, and we are very thankful to the volunteers who put in the orders. So I just reminding people, I think we try and once a program to remind people the orders are as close as they were on the board, which is good. So, and that gets us into the winter here. France retakes Marseille and builds another fleet. Germany builds an army. Austria is eliminated. And Turkey picked up 2 and puts down 2 more armies. So the worry for why Brad may have turned around was just worry and only that.
I don't think Brad turned around. I think he just walked out of Marseille because he knew it was done. So that's really.
But Spain, if he held Spain, right, it was.
Spain was defensible. Spain was totally defensible.
Yeah. That hurt because he builds one and France doesn't rebuild. Although I mean, France's 3 fleets are completely freed up now that England is gone, as long as FG are together. Does that I don't want to do another look ahead and guess, but maybe Brad goes, all right, maybe they see an end of the game coming. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think so. And I think if I'm Turkey and wanting to ever turn on Italy potentially or go and help Italy or something, I probably withhold building 2 armies. I build one, maybe wave one, or negotiate a way to build another fleet. I don't think you need that many armies.
Here we go. Thank you, John. John is on the board. So Spain was actually bounced out. And so they just moved, the backstabber wasn't entered correctly, so they just moved it out there.
Okay.
There we go. Thank you. See?
Yeah, although it does look like Brad is getting a little worried by rotating the armies back through Trieste, Serbia, and Greece, which, is effective to block the stab, but it then makes you a lot less useful on the line here. So, I mean, Vienna should be takeable, except for the fact that Venice has now gone to Trieste, so can't tap Tyrolia. So, a little bit. And again, there is a reason to make the inopportune tactical play here, particularly if look, there's a world here where Italy and France can make up, and actually there's a 3-way alliance here that has Italy on side. It requires Khalil to be patient, but we've seen that that's possible. Because now Germany's coming after the Russian centers after April. Has gotten into the right defensive position, so maybe won't take them immediately. Because really Turkey is on the march here. And you called it before, Chania. This is a dominant Turkish position, putting a lie to all of my concerns about Smyrna Khan at the start of the game. If you're as good as Andy McLaughlin, it doesn't matter if that's a terrible move. You make it work. You get this position.
I'm going to defend that move. That's my Turkish opening always.
I won't say that I set this up because I had no advance notice, but it did play out nicely. So.
I think they can. Well, yeah. I think if I'm Brad here and I'm freaking out, I'd ask for a bounce, right? Why walk everything back? What are you going to get? What are you going to attack Turkey? Like, no, you're not. So, really strange on the Italian front. I believe they can still take Vienna though.
Yeah.
Gal.
Yeah, they're in Gal, right? Yeah, you're right. They can. It's just a worse position than it would have been.
Yeah.
You'll notice, Tanya, that I am terrible at tactics, so I will miss everything tactically. So just never listen to me when I
You're
when I talk.
not. You don't become world champion being terrible at tactics.
Well, does not hold Vienna. They do take Vienna.
Yep.
Yeah. They take Vienna. And again, Andy doing the alliance play and giving it to Italy here, right? Like they have the position, they have the whip hand, and they're still giving Italy their share of the centers. It makes sense. It looks like there is an attempted détente in Brad and Khalil here. Khalil doing the perfect, my favorite set of moves, which is everything hold. And yeah, just trying to really ease up the position to give themselves a way back in here. I mean, I think I'm very aware that John has this walk into, or now doesn't have the walk into Paris, but had a walk into Paris that they had to be at least a little bit concerned about.
This looks to me like a near end game. What's left, taking the Russian dots. I don't think the two alliances stab each other. That would be really surprising to me. So let's see.
Let's see what we get out of it. Sorry, I was clicking the button. I was on the wrong screen. Brad builds an army, and Ukraine comes off the board. That was it?
Yeah.
Oh, we continue.
Not much change in dynamics, though. I mean, it seems to be let's hold up some line and take out Russia, so that I guess Germany is going to pick up most of these dots. Maybe I guess Turkey can get one. We'll see.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, if I'm John, I'm not drawing here, right? Because you have Sweden, you have St. Petersburg, you probably even have Warsaw if you guess right. So yeah, I mean, there's a good incentive for John to keep going. As soon as April wasn't fully on board with the defensive line, or why keep her around?
Yep. I don't think the dynamics switch much though. Tyrolia piffed, which is kind of big actually. Why would you not retreat that? I guess you can just rebuild it.
Just rebuild it.
But fair enough.
Yeah. Also building from Sweden, so it's not like you weren't going to get a build.
And Warsaw.
Two fleets. Come on, 2 fleets. +3. They were taking those Russian centers as you suggested 3 years prior. So perfect play out of that. And we continue.
Well, rolling through to take St. Petersburg, I would imagine, to take the last guaranteed one there.
It could get interesting if Turkey wants to keep playing, right?
Yeah.
Warsaw can be taken. And if Turkey gets into St. Petersburg, that's great. I don't think this is a solo board, but that's the kind of thing that makes it solo.
No, Turkey doesn't get there though, so.
I just want to point out too that my favorite player of Boston, Khalil, has done an amazing thing the last entire game year of not actually move any of their units and just send them in circles around the place, going to different positions in Spain and Mid-Atlantic Ocean and all of that. It's just, we're just having fun. We're just playing diplomacy and we're just moving units in circles.
Yeah, Livonia will get to St. Petersburg. Yes, there we go.
I didn't notice the German unit in Livonia. I thought
it supported itself in when Moscow. I'm surprised that Warsaw was guaranteed. Well, not guaranteed, but no, it was Moscow to Warsaw with Ukraine support, and Sevastopol backfilling there would have guaranteed it, knowing that Germany was going to.
Well, Moscow was attempting to hold St. Petersburg, which would have actually held had it not moved to Norway.
Yeah, but in the long term, though, you're gonna. I mean, it's going to rotate up. But yeah,
you can always take Warsaw later.
Yeah. Do they can? Oh no! All right. So the forced end game. Let them do. Yeah, one order. That's it.
Yeah.
Narrows the gap to 1, which is very nice there. And I'm sure there we go. Perfect.
Germany and Turkey played fantastic games.
Sorry, I was speaking through you. What did both of them?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, this is good, strong alliance play all the way through, right? The people, the the Kraken and the FG, they worked out their alliances. They had trust. They were effective the whole way through, apart from a little bit of nervousness from Brad. There was really almost no cracks in the alliance. So this is a strong alliance, two strong alliances that managed to find a way to get to the end when everyone gets a good score.
It's interesting because I think that for France, they could have likely topped this board had they not convoyed that army that could have defended Marseille. So if they had just not made that move, there's a good chance that this game ends with a French top. So,
McCallus is in the background, nodding his head a little bit. You were not pro France to the end?
mute.
Nope, you're on mute. You're doing a Preval.
I think Tanya's right. Like, France had a really, really good start and just took a bit too many risks. And then, it gave all the power to Germany in that alliance. And John used that power incredibly well. Like, this was a really, really well played game by John. To not stab France and risk the IT breaking through, and who knows what happens from there, but instead to just keep his foot on the French neck in a friendly way with all that time where he was sat in Burgundy and could have snuck into Paris, snuck to London, done anything like that, but just didn't do it. He just went, no, I don't need to do that. I can go and take all those Russian dots and I can top the game. And really well done. And also beautiful IT, just got to say it. Always love one of those.
So through 2 rounds, we had 2 solo tops in round 2 with Hunter and John now reflecting the top of the standings. We got the couple of those shared tops coming from round 1, following somewhat close behind, but Hunter with a large lead going into the final round. Round 3 was timed. We don't know, the players didn't know in advance how long it would be, but as our most Sunday rounds with travel being involved, you're likely to get between 6, 8, 9, 10 years max. I think the last one we did with Armada, I think we got to 1908, maybe even 1909, I think, in one of those games. So we'll see. We'll see what round 3 brings out as far as these games go. I am going to take a break on this one, so we'll leave you 3 out here, and McCallus will throw you up into the host duties, and we will get to the players right here.
All right, so round 3, board 1, we see Adam Silverman playing in Austria. We see runaway leader at the moment, Hunter Catcher, playing in England. We see second place in the tournament, John Bin, playing in France. That could be an interesting dynamic. We see Stephen Sauer, I believe, playing his first game so far, appearing in Germany, Ian Rudnick in Italy, Vig in Russia, and Lucian in Turkey. So, Tanya, Jamal, you've both played at the top end of tournaments. You're France in this situation, and you see the runaway leader in England. What are you doing?
So the one thing I am concerned about as France in this situation is that Vig survived their only game this tournament off the grace of Hunter last game. So I'm not inherently thinking that Russia is going to help me in an attack on England here. So I'm trying to pull out all the stops to sweet talk Germany into whatever they want. To try and at least, if not attack England, at the very least, not take part in an attack on me.
It's hard. It's really hard when you go into this game and then you think, like, should I play for this, based on the scoreboard, or should I, go for... It's tough. It's hard to say. It's really, depends on the player, depends on, what John's relationship is with Hunter. We'll see what happens, I guess. It's definitely in your mind.
Before this game starts, I'm almost going to say that I never put money on this, but money on Bounce in the English Channel in the 1901 in this situation. Neither of them are going to give him the opportunity.
I'd like to see it.
Oh, no! Anton, what'd you do?
That's great.
Well, as you called the move to the English Channel, Jamal, why don't you take the West here?
Oh wow. So Hunter says, you know what? I'm a trusting guy. I've worked something out with John. This is not a problem at all. I don't need to go to the English Channel. Oh wait, now France is in the English Channel. So yeah, so John making a jump straight out of the gate, trying to get a crouching start. So yeah, Hunter's gone fairly standard. At the very least, Hunter has gone to Yorkshire, which at least gives some level of defense against the English Channel move very quickly. But yeah, this is fireworks in the West straight away. This will be fun to watch.
This is great. Just convoy to Wales, right? Or like London, Wales, 50-50. Why not? Meanwhile, we have a bouncing gal, Venice to Tyrolia. I'm very happy to see finally an Austrian not letting Italy just walk into Trieste. Maybe a Turkish set of moves you prefer, Jamal. Ankara goes to Khan to Bulgaria.
It's not quite as good as Syria, but I'm going to take this one. This is the best I'm going to get today. So yeah,
but
Lucia knows how to play Turkey.
Vig puts Vig or Vid. How do you say this name? Okay, well, Russia puts the fleet in Sevastopol into Romania, which is beautiful for Austria. So let's see what happens here. No bounce in the black. No bounce in English Channel.
Yeah. All right, Tony, do you want to carry on with the East?
Yeah, let's do that. Strange. I guess this is a very let's not have a fleet sort of touch the black. Maybe, I don't know. I think Russia gets a better deal out of this. But a support into Gauss, so we see RT seems quite strong. And Tyrolia takes Trieste anyway. All right, fine. And Apulia's convert to Tunis. So maybe Ian's like, all right, Adam. Is Adam? Did Adam play Austria in another game we just saw? Anyway, maybe AI versus RT, or everyone versus Austria. Both are very possible.
In the West, this game is going to be a real test of Hunter's character. I think it's going to be a real test of Hunter's character because John has just stared into Hunter's soul and just gone, I know exactly what you're going to do. I know you're going to cover both of them. So I'm just going to go take Belgium here. And you can pull out of the North Sea. You can pull out of your position. You can be in Wales. I'm not even, I read every single move and every thought of your mind, Hunter. So, your turn now. Let's see how we go. So Hunter's ability to recover, this is psychologically for Hunter a real blow, right? You've gone for a guess, and you've just been completely outguessed in 1901, and your position is horrible. You have a build, sure, and you probably have an ally in Vig, but this is rough. So yeah, I'm very interested to see how Hunter recovers from this, and I think he's got it in him, but he's going to need to really dig deep.
I mean, this is fantastic from France, right? The only way this could have been better is if English Channel moved to the North Sea. Then that would have been classic.
Yeah, I do wonder whether the initial plan had been for Germany to take North Sea, but Germany feeling the need to cover Munich because of Italy and Tyrolia might have made them back out of that one.
Yeah, Denmark to the North Sea would have been crushing here. Yeah.
All right, so taking us through the builds, Hunter has realised that France is his enemy, puts down the fleet in Liverpool. Vig does feel the need to put something in St. Petersburg. It's not a fleet, so it's not as bad as it could be for Hunter, but it isn't the best either. Germany with the expected builds. Italy takes Trieste and then puts 2 fleets down. So to me, that reads as Trieste was agreed as a loan to deal with this fast-moving Turk. But do either of you disagree?
That seems to be it.
The thing about Italy is that they can always make the choice later, right? Say one thing and then decide whether you want to stick with it or not. But I think given the RT moves at the beginning, I would want to stay with Austria.
Yeah. All right. So, Jamal, take us away in the West.
So Hunter has dug deep. Hunter's dug deep, and he's convinced John that holding on to his dominant French position maybe isn't the best idea. So So yeah, John has pulled out of the English Channel, gone Brest to Gascony, which I find fascinating. I mean, I don't hate it. It's just an interesting move. And yeah, Hunter's defensively gone to Irish Sea, but also pulled out and gone to the North Sea, helping Germany into Sweden. So Hunter has, I've called Western triples almost every game because I'm an Australian and I can't help it. But like this does look at least like maybe there's an attempt at a Western triple here. We'll see if it holds. I've said that 5 times today. I've been wrong every time. But the Italian looks like maybe they're sniffing it out and going to Tyrolia to at least kind of slow the progress down a little bit. Is the Boston meta, Justin, that the Western triple happens for half a turn and then immediately ends? Is that the Boston meta? But yeah, so the West is getting it together, and big props to Hunter here for pulling this off and getting John to cede what is a dominant position.
I think it must depend on Germany, right? If you're France and you want to take down Hunter, you need Germany on side. And if Germany's not willing to make those moves, if Germany's like, listen, I'm just going to go get my dots from Russia, you deal with France, then you can't really do it. Then you need to actually pull back and make some adjustments, or you're not going to get anywhere. So, yeah, I think this is like a German decision, most likely. But yeah, suboptimal moves from Russia, holding St. Petersburg, having to retreat Sweden, like at least take Norway, right? So a bit of a shame that didn't happen. And then on the eastern side, we have Romania to black, Ukraine to Sev. I don't know if I necessarily... I guess Romania had to go to black in order to get the army into Romania, so there had to be some adjustments. But moving Ukraine to Sevastopol, like who's your ally, right? It's Turkey. So why bother? Why retreat? Why let the AI sort of advance?
Yeah, I'm not sure why you don't support Warsaw to Galicia here to at the very least bounce Austria out of it.
Like nothing is touching Sevastopol. There's no reason to be there. So it's interesting.
And even if you think England is your friend in the north, then just put both units tap Norway so that this support can't happen and you can defend Sweden without being hostile. That is, maybe Vig, being a newer player, hadn't learned that yet, and this will be a learning experience for them.
For sure.
Yep, so the Western triple looks like it's holding for at least a turn. So Hunter has gone up to Barents, to Norwegian, North Atlantic Ocean, which is lovely because it looks like it is moving further away from France, but it's not really moving that much further away from France. France has rotated the fleets out, taking Spain, but not really fully committing against Italy yet. I do highly suspect that Tuscany bounce is arranged. And I think John is aware of the tournament standings here. John doesn't actually want to fully commit West. So I reckon we'll see a couple of very convenient bounces for John that lets him stay in somewhat of a position to still have some play. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I did want to mention last time, and I didn't do it, that the only reason I can see the Ukraine to Sev move working is if Russia really banks on the fact that Austria is going to be with them. I still wouldn't have done it this way, but Galicia does hold Warsaw. Seems like they see what's going on, potentially a Western triple. We need to react to that, and let's just get rid of Turkey and go defend. That's what's happening. Although, once again, I don't understand why St. Petersburg doesn't move to Norway, right? Bounce it out. Don't make it so easy. Now you're done. You're toast. So they could have definitely slowed down the progress in the north if Russia wanted to.
Yeah. I will say in the theme of this commentary between you and I, Tanya, I have to say I'm very sad that the one time they don't go to con, Turkey's ending up in a shit position here.
I was waiting for a good time to bring it up, actually.
Yeah. No, I will own it. Look, I'm going to stick by my moves here, but look, this is not a good case for it. And look, if everyone now wants to start moving Smyrna to con, please do so against me. It'd be great if all the turkeys I play against go Smyrna to con now, after seeing how successful it is and how bad any other move is.
Well, the only builds we see on the map, we see Fleet Marseille. So France, maybe they don't want to commit too hard into the med, but they don't have an excuse not to build that. Army Munich from Germany, Army Budapest from Austria, that's an interesting one. Given that Austria's just held Russia in Warsaw against Germany, what do you guys think about Army Budapest there?
You're playing with Russia here to just get the juggernaut to break. Your ally is Italy, and you're always just gonna go and take Russian centers here, knowing that the West is going to have to fight itself eventually. The Western Triple, based on tournament position, you know that the Western Triple can't hold. So I think Austria is banking that there's something else going on.
I think it might just be so that they're not scared about, Romania moving to Budapest. It could be that simple. Just like, okay, let me just put the build there and figure out what to do in the fall.
Do you think Adam Silverman's a paranoid scaredy cat?
I just noticed that it was Adam, so I'm sure there's a grand plan that I'm not unaware of.
All right.
Yeah, I can move back to Vienna. It could do that.
Yeah, and that's why I was thinking that it would just be in Budapest so that Romania doesn't move into it, and then it would go and do something. I don't know. But other than that, Ankara is lost. Seems like, and it makes sense for me that the reaction to a Western Triple is that you would have an heir. So that's what we're seeing here. St. Petersburg is lost. Should have held a bit longer, but it is lost. And yeah.
And John has been able to extract. So yeah, you mentioned, Michalis, that John had no excuse not to build Fleet Marseille, and he has no excuse not to do these sets of moves. And as much as he's organizing a bounce in Tuscany and Western Med, he has to still somewhat at least look like he's moving in the right direction. So he's had to vacate Mid-Atlantic Ocean, and he's done well to extract North Atlantic to Norwegian from Hunter with that. I mean, the temptation for Hunter here, being that he was jumped out of the gate by John, is just to go, well, no, I'll go to Mid-Atlantic here, and then what you're going to do, or at least hold in North Atlantic Ocean. But yeah, this is a good play by John to really get Hunter to move away and move north properly.
Here's the thing, though, right? And this is the problem with let's pretend to do something, and you pretend so much that eventually your position is so in the west, in the east in this case, that at some point you may as well just attack Italy, right? Like what's the point?
Yeah, I mean,
so I'm not sure that this is great for France if England is the ultimate target.
And what John really wanted was probably a bounce in North Africa as well, right? And I'm sure they might have asked Ian for it, and Ian's like, "Why would I do this? Why would I bounce you in North Africa?"
I mean, I can think of reasons why Ian might want North Africa to be empty, but
yeah, me too.
Ian apparently didn't want that if that was what was going on.
Yeah, and continuing convenient bounces. We're not even going to try for the actual position of Tyrolia to actually take Venice here and whatever else, or to support myself into Tuscany, which might actually advance my French position. I'm just going to bounce everything.
But Tunis is lost now.
Yes, Tunis is lost.
Or Tyrrhenian Sea, right? It's not good for Italy. This is bad. This is bad.
But they are picking up Con. They're picking up Con, which at least gets them a build. They can build another fleet in. It's not too bad. And in the
right,
the other side of it, Hunter holding everything, so Hunter feeling at least semi-confident in his position here.
No, you're right. With a fleet build, it is not so bad.
I mean, England is the one who's building here, and England has blocked up Edinburgh, which is perhaps the only place that a Western Triple build could go that doesn't scare one of the others. So, does Hunter wave, or is Hunter going to put something down?
Defensive. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Defensive, but also if you walk into North Sea, that's not so defensive.
Yeah, and there's plausible deniability here, right? Because you go, I've got to convoy Edinburgh over to Norway so I can get armies into Russia. So I've got to go Norway to the North Sea, and you start to build a case here to get a position, probably more so on Germany than on France here. Which John, and as you said, Tanya, John has been almost forced into this kind of eastern position where now they really are just attacking Italy, what else can they do? You know, I mean, you take Tunis with North Africa, so West can still pull back, but it's tricky.
No, you can't anymore. Yeah, right. I didn't account for the fleet builds, and then now you're a bit. You can take Tunis.
And that would be as far as you get, though.
I don't think so. If Tyrrhenian Sea moves to Tunis,
moves,
port from Ionian, and Tyrrhenian Sea is covered, you don't take Tunis. So there's
you have a guess on Tyrrhenian Sea or Tunis.
They can't cover Tyrrhenian Sea doing that because they don't have a second fleet to support themselves to Tyrrhenian Sea behind.
Let's see what happens. Interesting.
Now Lucian, who's obviously the best Turkish player in this tournament because he didn't move to Con, is getting back into Con now with support from Russia, which I love that. Vig has decided that that they've had enough of Italy in Con, and that they'll put Lucian in. Although it might be short-lived, it might just be a put them in there to kill them. And yeah, wow, it's looking like a real East-West lockup going on here.
All right, Tanya, you're Russia. Give me a reason why you've done this to Italy.
I'm really trying to think of how and why. Okay, I would almost get it if there was a way to have Lucian walk out and then, they can rebuild that in Naples or something, if that was the idea. No, I don't know. Why do this? I'm not quite sure.
I can't come up with a.
Italy is keeping France back, right? We all see that. So why are we attacking Italy?
And even if Italy isn't
sure.
the one, like if they believe Italy is superfluous and is going to die anyway, now Tunis is lost. It doesn't look like Austria thinks that.
And why would you ever want to give Turkey a build? How is that going to help you?
I mean, there is a world here where Vig is a strategic genius, and what's actually going on here is that they're collapsing Italy, so France gets a couple of builds, knowing that France eventually does want to turn on England, right? So that maybe you want to actually feed France enough builds that they can turn on the rest of the West and save your northern position.
Maybe, but I think, I mean, right now, Russia's biggest enemy is probably Germany, right? Warsaw, Moscow those are German dots, and that's I don't think England's the issue.
I will say Venice is very at risk here because now that Apulia is up to Venice, and the only thing that can actually support hold Venice is Tuscany, which can be cut by Lyon, and Lyon doesn't have anything else to do because Tunis has fallen. So given that Trieste is also needing to be plugged by someone, Ian's position is really, really bad here, and maybe France can get to and do something.
Let's see. And France doesn't want to take Italian centers. They really don't want to take dots, and they don't want to take dots even if those dots would give them the builds they need to attack England and win the tournament. Fair enough. There are obviously reasons for that. And Hunter getting a little, well, actually, this is Hunter's plausible deniability. I won't go back into the North Sea because I actually really want Germany on side, but I will rotate back to Clyde.
I mean,
so actually, they got rid of Turkey. So what it was all planned is
they got rid of Turkey, but Piedmont to Albania, which John seemingly believed was actually going to happen. Can either of you make a case for how someone convinced John that was going to happen?
Well, I think Ian convinced him, right? So I think Ian and John have cut a deal here where Ian goes, I know you don't actually want to kill me. I'll work with you. I'll put you into Albania so we can attack Austria together. And you can go and get Austrian dots or something. And because as you see, right, John hasn't done the other moves to go and guarantee centers and actually get them. So yeah, I think there's been some kind of ridiculous forward position proposed here, which I think John has decided to take.
But
and I would too if I think Italy offered it to me and I thought they were genuine about it, and I thought that maybe you look at the last moves and you think, oh man, Russia and Austria just dotted you, right? Like maybe there's a good case that You can get that revenge by getting France into that area, and if you buy into that, then I think I would also have taken the risk and moved to Albania.
All right. Well, let's have a look at the builds then. All right. So France puts down another army in the south. They haven't used the Tunis build to do anything different yet. Germany, Army Berlin, Austria unable to use the build they took from killing off Lucian. And Ian pulls Rome off the board. What do you think about that?
It's the most defensive pull, I guess. You're in a rock and a hard place here. You pull Tuscany or Venice and your position collapses. You pull Turin and Sierra and could be your position collapses. You pull Rome, your position collapses just a little bit slower. So it's hard. The French has decided to turn around somewhat defensively, or actually aggressively, because actually now I'm going to go take Munich with Austrian help. So wow. So the French has decided not to stab Hunter, who's their rival for the tournament, but instead to stab Stephen. So yeah, well, this will be an interesting. I guess it was more accessible from this position. This was a more effective stab. You can't stab Hunter here, but diplomatically, I think this is a. And maybe not the choice I would have made, but maybe if you feel like Hunter and Stephen are locked in anyway, there's no difference between the two of them, right? If you feel like that alliance is not going to break, then whatever, you're going to have to eventually take centers somewhere. So take them where you can. And yes, the tide has turned on Germany here, which is really, really rough for them, because I think they've done nothing wrong. They've done the alliance play. They have they've been the Western triple Germany that everyone wants them to be, and so yeah, this is a little bit of a brutal situation for them.
But this is the thing, right? I mean, like, we're assuming possibly that Germany had the ability to choose either France or England as their ally, and then chose this, like, I'm not going to choose either of you. I'm going to attack Russia, and then we're going to somehow Western triple. I think most of us know that Western triples really aren't the best for Germany. And you can kind of see why, right? Look at their position. But I think on France's end, this makes a lot of sense. Get your dots, right? Like, there's one thing about eliminating England, but get your dots. That's number one. And Munich was there, and it was offered, and it was taken. So I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and so I think the key to this one's going to be Adam Silverman, right? So the unit that I'm watching this turn is Tyrolia, because Tyrolia could do one of two things. It could either turn on Italy, which I think is what France is hoping, or this could all be a bit of a ruse, and Tyrolia is actually still with this heir, and it's about to, it might hold for a little bit, but it's about to cause problems for France rather than anybody else. So yeah, that's the unit to watch for me.
I think, like, if you're Adam and you convince France to turn on the Western triple, you've already, like, done your part, right? Now you take German dots. Like, it's great. Someone's broken their alliance. That's the key to continuing a game. Otherwise, it's a draw. So,
from a tournament perspective, John needs to not only beat Catcher, but beat Hunter, but he needs to beat him with a couple of people in between, given the rank-based system. He's about 3,500 points behind. So working with Adam so that Adam can be one of those people makes some sense.
Yeah,
he's not in a great.
Maybe John's not considering any of this, right? Like, sometimes you're in the tournament, you don't really think about, I need to beat XYZ and get this score, right? You just sort of play the game.
I feel like his opening into English channel told me he was thinking about it. I don't know. Maybe you like to open into the channel as France anyway, but that to me is a low percentage move for a kind of, unless you're considering who you have to beat.
All right. Well, what does Adam Silverman do?
Adam Silverman takes position against Germany. So Germany's taking back Munich but losing Kiel for their trouble. So it's not looking great. I suspect Hunter's offered them St. Petersburg as a defensive thing here, because they've also tried to help them back into Warsaw. Although Hunter, Hunter is now has all of the justification to come and attack France, which is what So if one thing, I know Hunter's thinking about the tournament score rankings here for sure. And so Hunter now has every reason they need to come swing their fleets back, help their German ally and go and attack France. And France has decided that now is the time to try and attack Italy properly, which is again an interesting decision. I might have just taken this opportunity to pull back into Mid-Atlantic Ocean and have some kind of defensive position against maybe Hunter's convinced you he's not on side with Germany, but given the way that alliance has run, I don't see how you see Hunter not doing what he's done here. And now John, whilst he might be in the lead, is in a bit of a rough diplomatic position.
So Germany,
you build Fleet Brest and move West Med up to Mid-Atlantic, and you're probably fine.
Germany moved Baltic Sea to Sweden, Sweden to Skagerrak instead of covering Kiel here. Did either of you give a justification for that, or what those fleets that Germany is using are doing here?
Well, they probably didn't think they were going to get Munich back. Because if Tyrolia held Munich wouldn't be retreating anywhere. So
I mean, could this actually be a stab on England? Because if England supported Germany back from Prussia to Warsaw, if Germany had taken that support and supported from Livonia and done still to tap Galicia, it was guaranteed. Instead, they've taken St. Petersburg and gone a position to take Norway. Like, I think you're right, McCullers. Like, this could actually be Germany attempting a weird stab on England because they're worried about like not having enough units to defend against France or something. And maybe they're just panicking. I'm not sure. But like, yeah, maybe this is a stab from Germany, in which case this is not the move I would make here, Stephen.
It's really hard to read those fleets as being anything other than hostile to England with the way they've moved. It's just such a strange move to do when you just could cover Kiel. Even if you don't get Munich, you probably want to cover Kiel.
Yeah, there might also be like oh no, they're both going to attack me now, right? Now that one's made the move. You never know.
It's crazy that like sometimes when you have what you think is a strong alliance and what you think is a good position and then it breaks, sometimes the panic just sets in. Like, I mean, diplomacy's, we talk on this commentary as if everything's just purely tactical and on the board, but the emotions play such a big part of this, right? If you think you've got a way to the end and then suddenly the rug gets pulled out from underneath you, the emotional panic can be huge, and you can just make suboptimal moves that actually end up causing you a lot of trouble. And this could just be a situation like that.
Well, I believe Germany has a disband, so I think we'll learn a lot from what that is.
Livonia.
That to me suggests that Norway is being targeted. Like,
yeah, Livonia, not Sweden. Yeah.
Although France puts Army Paris down instead of Brest, so either of you have a justification for that?
Wow. I'm assuming John might be able to talk to England about the fact that they just lost St. Petersburg, will lose Norway. Like, don't bother with me. Just try and let's just get Germany out of here. And then you put down well, it didn't work.
Yeah, Hunter says thanks, but no thanks. Although goes to Wales, not Irish Sea, right? So like Irish Sea is the play if you really want to force Mid-Atlantic Ocean, but you're going to Wales instead, and you moving out of the North Sea, you're letting Germany into the English Channel. I mean, maybe Wales is there to cover London in case this happened. Like this has gotten weird in the West very, very quickly. And John's just sitting there going, all right, I'll take Holland. And I'm going to support Germany to hold in Munich because we really don't want the East to get away with this here, do we? And yeah, wow, this game has gone. The weird has gone up a level on this game, and it's kind of what you get sometimes when you have two people competing for the tournament on a board and both doing well.
Well, to me, Liverpool to Wales suggests that maybe they want to cover London, knowing Germany could go to North Sea, but supporting Russia into Livonia is a move that is just really strange to me. Even if it's to plan, you put me into St. Pete, you can backfill Moscow. St. Pete just retreats to Norway, so that's still a net loss for England. You don't actually want St. Petersburg to be dislodged here. There's a lot of very difficult to explain moves happening on this board right now.
Yeah, but well, it could be timed, right? So we don't know.
Yeah, 1906 could be timed.
Yeah, but wouldn't they let them finish 06 rather than Because this is a full phase.
Probably.
Yeah.
Sometimes the time is the time, and it doesn't matter where you are. So they must have gotten these orders in and dropped them dead, because this game did end by time.
Oh, it did.
Okay.
In which case, I think some of this makes a bit more sense if you realize that people know that the time is arriving, right?
Yeah.
So Hunter probably realizes that, I mean, the build in Paris makes sense once you know that John knows that Hunter cannot take Brest, right? That as long as you can put one unit in Brest, there's no way that Hunter can take it. So why bother trying to build there, and instead go and take what you can out of Germany? And the stab on Germany makes more sense from John when you know that he knows there's maximum 1 more year left. And so just take whatever centers you can get, right? Because in this position, right, he's first and Hunter's fourth. This is what he needed. I don't know the exact scores, but this is what John needed to potentially give himself a shot at the tournament. So, and there he goes. He's on top now. It makes sense.
I'm kind of sad. I really wanted to see that game play out a little bit more. I think Adam Silverman would have topped the board. So that's too bad.
Yeah, Adam had great position in there. And I was thinking even from the beginning is if Germany wouldn't commit to helping against England, maybe John and Hunter agree, hey, let's go 1-2. John gets first so that way he could finish second in the tournament, but was able to get some help in Hunter's growth. And once I mean, I don't know if I can highlight on here. Does it show it? Yeah. Like he flatlined. All right, now I've got my chance. I just got to grow. You get Tunis. Like he walked into Tunis without Ian putting up too much of a fight, and just pray that the time comes in time, and it did.
Well, in the end, it's whatever happened to get Germany to take St. Petersburg in the year before the end, rather than Warsaw, taking the dot from England instead of resecuring their own one, is what's made this be Germany above England instead of the other way around. And that could well have cost Hunter the tournament. Whether that was a deal Hunter cut that he didn't foresee this happening, or whether this was John managed to get Germany to do something, that's why the fleets were up there. If John has calculated this precisely to work out that, all right, Hunter's in fourth, I need to take some dots from Germany to top myself, but not so many that Germany's below Hunter. If he's managed to calculate in the middle of the game, then wow, well done, because that is incredible in the head calculations.
And here's John. This is what the rule was.
Wow. Yes.
Nice. So that is where we stand with one game to go. We've got round 3, board 2. We will give this opportunity to Jamal to give a wrap up for what he's seen so far, because sadly it's Monday where he is and the work week is beginning. So
that's right. I got to go to work. But look, this was a really fun tournament to watch. Thanks to everyone for rocking up and playing. Thanks to the commentary team. It was great to be here. I'm calling it now. Tanya 1, Jamal 0 on the call of Turkish openings. But I look forward to re-entering the ring in that particular disagreement at some other point in the future. It'll be good.
If you've watched DBN for the last 4 years, you'll know that you are not alone with Tanya on a higher seed than anyone else. So welcome to the club.
For someone who a diplomacy personality I've actually never met before right now, all expectations have been met and exceeded.
Well, have a great week at work. Thanks for joining us today, and hopefully you can have us on in the background as you are getting some work done. And hopefully you have subscribed to the channel. If you haven't already, there's this fun little banner that we'll put up, like and subscribe wherever they go. So excellent. Thanks, Jamal. And all right. Yes, please like and subscribe. I haven't refreshed in a while. I know our subscriber count keeps going up little by little. It helps get the game out. I know every tournament we hear was, I think, I forgot who I was chatting with earlier. They've been watching for 2 years, and finally a first-time tournament player and commenter. So welcome. Thanks for watching. We love having people live in the chat, because even as great as these analysts are, they don't see everything in live time, because we're trying to review a lot. So we appreciate your comments. And let's get to the last game. Round 3, board 2. In honor of Randy Lawrence hurt, we've gone through all the major sports teams. I am a huge soccer football fan. So the New England Revolution is my last team. We'll call for round 3, board 2. Austria has Steven Schuken. England, Kayla Silverman. France, David Harshberger. Germany, Will Yarnton. Italy, April Milovic. Russia, Khalil. Sheehan Miles. And Turkey, as mentioned, Randy Lawrence hurt. So only 2 of the top 10 on this board. But with Khalil in 3rd, he was behind. He was behind going into this final round. So I don't know with 7,000 if it's even possible to catch him now. He would need a huge gap, I think. Yeah, because what are the? Let's see what this. Yeah, 19,000. He would need 8,600. So that would be a differential of 6. Does that sound
5,
right?
I think. 5 centers plus the top. I mean, you're Russia. You're the right country, and you're on a board where no one else is in contention. So this is about as good as it can get if that's the gap you have to make up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I believe we've seen in this tournament so far a lot of Russias with 2 builds, 3 builds. We have not seen an anti-Russia opening, but none of the Russias really have come through to make big numbers at the end. So let's see how they do it here. Mikala, I think Tanya's been in the East the last couple times, so we'll flip it up. We'll put Tanya in the West this time.
Great. So no one going into the English Channel this time. Moves are quite standard. Paris moves to Gascony. Kiel up to Denmark, which usually we see a lot, but has been a bit rare. So there's that. And Liverpool to York.
Yeah, and in the East, Jamal is crying as once again Tanya's opening is the one that is chosen by Turkey. They put the 2 armies straight up. We see Italy. Italy goes straight into Trieste, presumably by agreement. Who knows? There isn't the follow-up. But
unfortunately, and luckily for Jamal, it is Randy making these moves. So chances are he's going to win on this.
Love the old school.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was the French opening that stood out most. But
I'm sad I put Tanya in the West.
I do just have to say that, once again, Ankara into the black, and that's why we keep the fleet in Ankara.
Yeah, and it turns out that if you put both armies there, they can take 2 dots in 01 because Italy can support you to Serbia, which is... Usually when you see aggressive Krakens, it's to support Italy into Greece. But supporting Turkey into Serbia is a new one on me. I haven't seen that in quite a long time. Russia also gets into Gao, as Vienna just holds. Stevens' Vienna hold not working quite as well as Hunter's did in the first game.
Yeah, so otherwise we have Munich going to Silesia, which is really interesting, and Denmark kicking Khalil out of Sweden, or not letting him in. So any hopes and dreams of a good Russia seem to be a little bit stagnated at this point, because you have York also convoying into Norway. So this looks like we're going to blitz once again, and Mid-Atlantic Ocean to Spain South Coast. Now, maybe France won't actually go through with the Western Triple, but hey, maybe they will.
It's been a while since I've seen a neutral Belgium that's neutral because literally nobody moved to it in 1901.
That is funny.
It's there for David in 1902. We had 2 German armies. We don't normally see that. Not terribly often, at least. Fleet South Coast for Khalil, so we will get some revenge for the bounce in Sweden. We do have the fleet in Smyrna rather than Ankara, so maybe RT still on the line. And anything else? 2 fleets for France. So will they come south? This order.
I've got to say, if I'm Italy, and I love an IT, because I'm Italy and it's me, and I put Turkey into Serbia in 1901, and I get rewarded with Turkey putting another fleet down and coming straight into the Med with it when Austria's almost dead already, I'm not a happy Italy.
Well, you
I-
can't be too mad because Trieste supports Serbia into Budapest.
Oh, April doesn't appear to be an unhappy Italy. I would be an unhappy Italy.
We had a pregame talk before the show. Tanya joined us later. We planned this schedule wise. It did, but we talked about it in the game how we would analyze today, and it was how do you feel? So Michalis got the memo, and Tanya was not around when the memo was circulated. So
I see.
Michalis sharing his feelings today.
And McCollum is probably correct. And once again, I have to just rub it in Jamal's face. Great Turkish position.
He's even out of the broadcast, so he can't even come in to fight to defend himself.
In the West, you have Kayla taking Belgium. So looks pretty Western Tripoli to me for now. Brest going to Mid-Atlantic Ocean and Marseille holding still is room for West Med up to Mao to Irish. So we'll see what David wants to do with that.
Yeah, Marseille holding is such a weird move. I don't know whether it was a misorder that they just haven't entered on Backstabber or whether, I forgot I had a fleet there. That's why it didn't move. But I can't think of many less convincing arguments than that if that's what someone is telling me and I'm England and I see this. So there's definitely some concern from me if I'm Kayla here.
Into the fall, it does move this time.
Less concern.
Yeah, it does move. So once again, this could be a I'm trying to figure out my options and then deciding, let me just attack Italy. We're in on the Western Triple. So Kayla's fleets hold, though. Belgium has to. North isn't doing anything. And they do get into St. Petersburg. So this is and Warsaw Falls. Very effective Western Triple right off the bat.
In 1901, Khalil got bounced out of Sweden and had Germany move to Silesia. And Khalil built St. Petersburg South Coast as a response to this, as I'm clearly at war with Germany, I need to punish them. The problem with that is that St. Petersburg South Coast, even in a war with Germany, doesn't defend St. Petersburg, as we've seen, and it's really cost them Warsaw. If you just had an army in Moscow, and you could have defended Warsaw here. So there's a reason why St. Petersburg South Coast in 1901 is almost never seen, and this is probably one of the times where you're fighting the people where this looks like a good build, and it still wasn't the correct build. And as a result, Russia is a zombie at this point. And if Khalil can come back, top this board, and win the tournament, I would be amazed. I don't think I'd have seen a better comeback than this. So they're stacking it against them as much as possible, but Randy just keeps advancing. What a Turkish position for 1902.
Yeah. It's also a timed round, so I don't see a Russia future in this. Yeah.
A lot of +2s and -2s in 1902. We get 2 armies in England, 2 more armies in Germany. Let's see, that's Austria pulling 2, leaving Tyrolia, and French or Italian fleet to defend against the French fleets. Sev goes, so yes, Russia being attacked from both the north and having a strong player to the south. Don't think there's much growth left for Russia, and there is now no growth left for Russia.
Yeah, it looks like Khalil has basically decided to, I'm going to punish the EG or the Western Trip, whatever it is that's attacked me. My goal here is to make them suffer. So, Randy, come on in. I'm out anyway. And fair enough, I guess. Like, this position was unsalvageable. I can't fault that thinking. He is getting rewarded somewhat because those 2 armies that, if I was Germany and I saw England put 2 armies down there, I'd have been concerned, and quite rightly so, because England convoys straight into Holland. I seem to have accidentally cut into your theatre, though.
Yeah, this is so great for Turkey. It's just, look at that. Walk into Rum, you're into the Ionian. Fantastic play from Randy. And France picks up Tunis. So that's great. They're going to put a build down. Maybe they can get in on this German assault, or maybe they'll take some of England's dots. So and getting into Piedmont because Trieste moves to Venice. So to cover for what from Tyrolia, I'm not sure, but yeah.
Supported in too, so they really wanted to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Into the fall, German
Into the
support
fall.
of England into Moscow does not happen the second time.
That's Russia getting back into Moscow as Germany, realizing England has stabbed them, has decided, well, I really don't want England to be the one that's taking Moscow, so fair enough. They take St. Petersburg for themselves as well, which actually means that Germany is net even, and so is England. So stab hasn't worked yet, given the bounce in Denmark instead of anything more aggressive happening with the English fleets. Austria's still alive as well. Austria's still alive because neither Italy, Turkey, nor Russia have moved to the open Vienna.
It's great. Why not? It's well, it's tapping Venice now, but maybe it was useful the term before.
It's an advanced position. Randy, if he takes it, has to build in Cannes. Now he gets Tyrolia for another year, maybe. So Randy is an excellent player, and maybe he's working with Stephen here. So he gets that army in Cannes, a fleet in Smyrna. Russia pulls Baltic and Bohemia. Two fleets in the west.
As one of the most avid fans of the Kraken, never taking an opportunity to cheerlead or not to cheerlead for it. This is a timed round, and we know how quickly the time is coming in. If you're Randy, do you not just take everything you can right now and screw Italy?
Yeah.
Randy's at 8 centers as Turkey in 03. This is great. Do what you want.
And
no one's stopping you.
He will by retreating into Naples, which is fantastic.
but and really not a lot of foresight on the Italian players' move. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. Cover your centers. You barely have any.
I don't get, because that's a stab on your main ally.
No, the craziest part is Greece holds, right? Yeah. Go somewhere. Do something.
Greece holds, but you're supporting Austria back into Vienna.
Wow.
Okay. Meanwhile, Germany is support holding Moscow rather than going for Norway, while England puts all of their fleets against Germany, and France is pulling back to fight England. So, yeah, quite a lot of interesting things happening in this game.
Yeah, we see what'll happen in the fall is there must have been some kind of distrust between France and Italy not to take Naples. Aegean walks right into Ionian, which is fantastic. And Randy gets Vienna. I mean,
with German support.
What's that?
With German support.
Yeah. This is all the result of an opening order to Constantinople. Let's just
clearly, of course, it must be.
Yeah, and Greece doesn't support Trieste to Serbia, which was very much on the table there. Greece just holds again. Italy...
I wonder, is April a newer player? Because I'm unfamiliar. Yeah, so maybe tactics takes a while to get used to and understand. So that would be a part of it, right?
Let's see.
Well, whatever it is has worked out really badly for April, because she's lost Naples and not gained anything, so she's pulling a unit here. There's not a good pull on this board. Got to give credit also to Kayla for that delightful convoy of Holland into Denmark. That's quite a nice little move.
Yeah, and it was a trade-off. So Germany gets Moscow and Turkey gets Vienna. So pretty good.
But Germany loses 2 centers to England, so.
Well, it's not Turkey's problem, is it?
Nope. The gap is growing. England did get 2 out of that, so not as big of a gap as Randy would like, but certainly a chance. And I don't believe he played in round 1, so sadly, with no drop round, he's chasing a big score. Playing
How
it
many
up.
points is a solo in this scoring system?
At least 34,000 if it's like Carnage. 'Cause
Okay.
Carnage is, I believe, all the centers or all the points times 1,000 or whatever.
I'm not saying I think one's likely, but it might be that Randy is going to try regardless, just because if a solo is enough to win the tournament by itself, why not go for it?
Well, the other game ended in 1906, so let's see what he can get in 1905.
Yeah.
Italy finally takes Serbia from Greece. The downside is they're probably going to immediately lose it. Italy at the same time supports Turkey into Tunis.
Right.
Another move that you are allowed to make.
It's not an Italian dot, so
While Naples moves to Apulia. Classic.
Why not? Sure.
Oh, we love it.
Germany gets Holland. Support from Kiel. Everything else is static up north. Liverpool to Wales to protect against potential convoy. Maybe not. England loses Belgium here, so England, the gap will grow as Randy retakes Serbia, takes Trieste, doesn't get into Venice, but loses Naples and holds Tunis. There you go.
Loses
Oh,
Budapest
as well. Yeah, to a retreat.
Oh,
which is-
retreat.
yeah.
Oof.
That's a big overlook.
Yeah.
I think I'd have been prioritizing Greece there rather than risking that annoying retreat.
Yeah.
Although, again, how they've convinced Italy to support hold them in Tunis, I'm not sure. France must be sat there right now going, what on earth did I do to deserve this?
They got to grow the gap. We're talking about, play the scoring system.
I mean, the gap is growing.
Yep. It's 7,900, which is
April just put 2 down, so
Yeah.
rebuild and a build for Budapest.
Trieste got piffed, so that's the rebuild.
There we go. And that is the game. This one was by voted draw. So Randy was pleased with his score. Probably could have gotten one, but if they knew the end was coming and the time was up, that is what we have. So,
I mean, if you get to the end of 06, obviously Greece is in pocket, Budapest is in pocket. There's potential that you could do something about Warsaw or Moscow as well. Because they're
it's probably
really
like so
hanging in
close to
Greece.
time at this point. And Randy's
Yeah.
not playing to win the tournament, so why
Yeah.
even bother? Yeah.
Exactly. Like there's no hope of a solo, so take the nice big top, and the gap's grown without you taking centers, so it's about as good as it gets.
anything else from the game we've overlooked? Any chances for anyone else to make a run like Randy did? Where did the West just never got on? Not it was Western Triple, right? And then it all of a sudden it ended, like Jamal said. Yeah.
I mean, it's a Western Triple that Germany has somehow been the one who came out on top of out of the three Western powers while being stabbed. So, well done, Will. That's actually quite impressive when you
That's
put it
good
that
play
way.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Here, so as I noted in here, 6 was England for best country. We don't know. Oh, usually we have the power selection. Game results summary. This used to have it. All right, we'll have to check Brandon's the results on here. Well, you don't have that. We will just go straight to the scores and give our congratulations to John Ben.
Yeah, I mean, really, really well played, especially that final game by John to get that into a position where Hunter was low enough that he could overtake him, having done a Western Triple with Hunter. Yeah, just brilliant play. Congrats on the tournament.
Good job.
Adam Silverman, it says only 2 boards. However, Adam did get a result or some points for the game that he volunteered to sit out. So it's not like, if he would have gotten the second game as well.
Those 4,000 points, are they on this score, or is he actually on 16.5? Because if he was on 16.5, he was really close to winning the tournament if that year had gone through and he'd taken a bunch of dots at the end of it in that first game we saw here.
What did he have in the 65? And he was in 1, 6,000. Yeah. So if he got, so maybe it was 16,000. Yeah. He would have needed, he would have needed to overtake John here. And even if he did, well, he wouldn't have won, but Hunter probably pulls out the win then.
Well, no, because Hunter's points stay the same regardless if John goes down. So that's a 2,000 point swing just from Adam finishing above John, which puts Adam to 18.5 and John down to less. If I'm not much mistaken.
16.5 would have been 18.5. Yeah.
Yeah, Adam would have won if that year had gone through and he'd gone top.
Oof. Burned by the time. And sitting out 4,000 for Adam, who won on this Carnage system, although it wasn't the topping bonus, the Carnic part of it. He won DipCon at Carnage back in 2021. So he would have maybe more than 4,000 there. But hey, he offered to sit out. He knew the consequences, and he still gets a good result in a good tournament. And I'm sure he enjoyed being there with his daughter. So glad to build the hobby. And Ian slides in at third place. Ian had, I feel like he just was under pressure. All the results came with him struggling and fighting. So he never had a good alliance. Like Hunter, I felt like all tournament long just had it. Oh, I sitting back, holding, waiting. Could have had a couple more points, but got what he got. So,
well, in Jamal's favor of take the points when they're in front of you. If Hunter had taken more points in that big first game where he could have accelerated away and got more points for a bigger top, that may have ended up winning him the tournament.
Yeah, he would have needed 3 in that. Where's this? Was this one?
Yes.
Yeah, he would have needed 3 centers because extra 500 for topping and actually
500 extra for topping. Yeah, just 2 cents. So he just takes rum and one other center.
Yeah,
and he was already in rum. So again, what could have been, but John was the one who worked out what points he needed to win, and John got the result. So
yeah,
congrats.
Yeah, excellent. All right, well, let's come back in here. Well, we are midway through the summer session, DBN. We've got VDL next Saturday night. I think both of you are back for next Sunday for the Summer Classic top board. Is that right? Maybe.
Probably.
I'm TDing, so I may be on sideline.
Well, you're on Saturday.
I'm commentating, I believe.
Yes, Brandon is going to host next Sunday. I think Brian is here as usual for league night. I think Nicole is here for league night, right?
Yeah.
And I got you both on the schedules here. We'll get a good crowd. 2 weeks from now, I didn't do any promo of events at the start. So 2 weeks from now, we have SkyCon out in Montana. Craig Mayer is hosting the second, can't say annual, the second event. COVID, I think he was planning to do it in 2020. He was going to do it like every couple of years because the local hobby out there is not that big. It's mostly a traveler tournament, but if you've never been out there, the scenery, the skies, everything is just fantastic. We have a lot of no's for who can help us with the broadcast because I think at least half of DBN is going to be there. So we may get some back channel from Ed Sullivan. We may get some live on scene reports. So we're excited about that. Let me do the brand. Yeah. So if you want to play in VDL, that is above Tanya's head. That will get you to the VWDC server, which all the virtual games are held for Summer Classic. We're not going to get into the Virtual Diplomacy Championship yet. Usually that's at the end of the year or right after the beginning of the year. The holidays always kind of throw that off. But lots of virtual games. You don't even want to compete. You just want to play a house game, a fun game. Ben Kelman is always trying to, bang the drums to get people just to come in and have some fun. I think we even had one of those house games go to like 1912 or 13 because they were having a good time. Hey, you want to play? There's play still on the board. The old timers want. If there's play to play, they want you to play.
I want to give a little shout out to the European Diplomacy Championships happening in Switzerland in September. I don't have the dates, but it's in Sion, Switzerland, which I believe is like an hour and a half from Geneva, and I'll be there. And hopefully, some of you who might be in the European side of the world might come out to that.
In the European theme as well, is I won't be there, but I will plug it anyway as a British national. The British Championship is happening for the first time in quite a long time in the final weekend of September. That will be in Warrington, I believe, just outside Liverpool, up in the north. And in the Netherlands at the start of November, the Dutch National Championship is also happening. Jelte Kuiper is running that one, and he is in the server that we have plugged up at there at the moment. So if you have any questions about that, do shoot him a message, and I'm sure he'd be happy to help you go along to that. It's in Groningen in the Netherlands.
We're going to have to start a European DBN broadcast.
Hey, well, with you two, you're going to the Euro DipCon. We got Robert, who helps us out a lot. Nicola, although we haven't seen Nicola in a while, so we'll get Nicola, not Sahuge, not WDC Nicola, but Taye, who was the former best player in VDL. Sorry, until Tanya stopped playing and Michalis took over that throne. So a lot of VDL, great play here.
I enjoyed the shade on Brandon of just cutting him out of that. It's just the three of us that have won.
I didn't say who won. I just said best players. Brandon had a good run, but got to be consistent to be considered a GOAT. So.
Oh, okay. The shade's even better then. I love it.
Yeah. He's not here to defend himself. He could talk about it next week when he's here. Let's see. Other Europe or American Weasel Moot is in early October. That is in this server, which Tanya is a former president of NADF. I thank her for her service there. No, you didn't. I thought you were promoted. Or no, thank you for the service.
No, I just ran it, but I was on the board.
Ah.
President.
I think this is just part of Kevin's long-running feud to say that Siobhan was not his favorite president, and now he just doesn't believe Siobhan was even president. He just writing her out of history entirely, Kevin.
Carnage at the end of October. All those are promoted in there. I'm pointing wherever I'm supposed to be pointing to the server, and yes, right there. I think that I would know after all the time. It's got to be crossbody, but here I can do this now. Oops, no, does it not work? Right. We'll leave this. We will get out of here before I make an even bigger fool of myself while hosting this. Thank you both. Thanks to Jamal for helping us out today. Tanya, last thoughts on players, tournament in general?
Really fun few games that I saw. Great. Thanks to Maslow for running this and been consistently promoting the Boston hobby. There's quite a few names there that I'd never heard of, including the winners. So it's so exciting to see all this new talent, and I really want to meet everyone. But yeah, great weekend. Congrats to John.
Carlos?
Yeah, I mean, John played great. There was some really fun games that we saw. A lot of different openings. Some maybe Boston local meta, maybe just one of those things that happens a lot with the amount of DMZs in Galicia. Turkey's always opening in the way that Jamal hates and Tanya loves. Yeah, and it was nice to see a lot of Western triples fall apart and fail.
Yeah.
It's good for commentary. It always brings out the best in everything. Congrats to John. Excellent, well-played tournament. Thank you, Alex, for he got us all the info we needed. Thanks for some of the background info. The con was played at a game store in Cambridge, so it was very fun themed. I think they've played there for a couple years now, so he wanted me to shout it out. I didn't get the name of it, but so if you're in the Boston area or if you're nearby and support the games, go find Alex. Maybe you can get the name of the shop and go support them. My thanks again, to you guys and everyone who helps with these broadcasts in advance. And until we see you twice next week, stay safe and stay well.